Peace, everybody. Welcome. I'm just going on live right now. Getting everything set up. Today we're going to do the thing that we usually do on TikTok. Teach some people the religion through conversation and previewing to other folks what they need to go through for them to truly understand what they need to do to get close to God by understanding the Quran and recognizing that the Quran is sufficient by itself. What's up, YouTube? Peace, Musa. I'm going to try to keep my eyes on the comment. I can't promise you as much. Just please, can you comment if it sounds good, looks good? Apologize. Get the pizza ready. All right, I'm about to go live on TikTok now. And let's go. Okay. All right, let's go. Bum, bum, bum. Go live. Peace, Joe. Momoki. What's up, buddy? Sorry, my bad. Peace, everybody. How you guys doing? Just give me 1 second, because this monitor is waiting. What's up, TikTok? What's up, YouTube? How you guys doing? How is everybody going around? All right, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, please, we're going to keep the airwaves open again on TikTok for the people who are interested in having a discussion. So just keep that going. Multikists. Dun, dun, dun. Let me see. I go like that. I think it's up here. Yeah, there we go. What's up, buddy? It's been a while since I came online. I've been doing my thing as well. Of course, I'm a human being. I have things that I need to take care of. It still has to do with God and the religion of God. Peace, submitter. Hope everybody's doing well. It's nice to see you. Nice to see everybody. Let me just need to add a moderator. Need a moderator. How do I do that here? Up. There we go. Cool. Awesome. All right, we're just waiting for people to. Cool. Yeah, awesome. All right, let's see. So obviously, the topic at hand is the one that you see right here in TikTok, where it says Sunnis and Shias is not Islam. It isn't. Sunnism and Shiaism is actually based upon concepts that God has not given you. And just because you have associated things to God that God has not given you, you are deemed as somebody who is outside the fold of religion, the religion being submission. You yourself, you call yourself a Sunni. You call yourself a Shia. This is not something that Abraham called himself, and it's not something that Muhammad called himself, nor was it something that Moses or Jesus or any other the prophets that followed what Adam said did. So why is this playing around like that? Give me 1 second. Can you guys still hear me? Okay. Awesome. So yeah, so the religion of God is teaching you something that's extremely simple, that to submit yourself wholeheartedly to God, to not sit and idolize or even say that there's many gods, or to give the attributes to gods to other things. Joe, it's a hypercast, I believe it's a hypercast. That's the type of microphone that I have. So the reasons why we do these streams is to show to other side, to the other people, and to the world that what you're hearing of Islam in this day and age is not, it's not the case. Because they keep trying to pass this idea that, the Prophet has been doing these certain things that are not aligning to what, people find as ideal in this day and age. And therefore they start to hate the Prophet, and they have this idea of the Prophet, which is not a real idea. And what ends up happening is these individuals as well, they find themselves being pushed away from Islam due to what people are preaching. And then when you look at the Quranic text, you realize that much of what they preach does not align with what God said. And then when you approach them with these problems that they have, what ends up happening is they start to give you a lot of you start to you start to get a lot of individuals giving you apologetics on par with what the Christians do. They can't actually sit and confront you for what you have to say. I just want to make sure that the mic and everything is working correctly. You guys are saying that I got cooked, that Shamsi smoked me. None of them answer questions when the questions are given to them. So I don't know what you guys are talking about in regards to me being smoked. I've yet to find somebody to actually give me an argumentation which actually answers the subject at hand without actually changing what is being said. So you guys keep talking about Shamsi and whatnot, but that's not the case. Okay, let me see. Let me make sure that it's working here correctly. Properties. Yes, that's it. Cool. That's the first mic. Make sure that's working on TikTok correctly. Yeah, it seems like we're good. All right, awesome. You guys can hear me. So these individuals that keep saying to me that I'm cooked, please present the information. Show me where I have made incorrect statements in regards to what the Quran is preaching, and where these people have brought anything to show that I need information outside of the Quran and pertaining to my religion. Shamsi, I asked him a very simple question. He couldn't answer. All he did was keep repeating, Aina Mecca? Where is Mecca? Where is Mecca? As if the Quran is supposed to give you a map to where Mecca is, when Mecca was something that was already established and it's already known in this day and age. The reason why I need your hadith is not because I don't know where Mecca is. You keep saying that for me to fulfill the Quran and to follow the Quran, I need your hadith. Yet the Quran by itself is showing me that I have everything that I need. I don't need to sit here and say that I need to enter the bathroom with my left foot for me not to get bum rushed by the devil, as some of you would like to say. That there are certain things that I need to say for me to get saved, when that's definitely not the case. So you guys are obviously saying things that are against the book of God, and where God actually admonishes you for saying such things. For example, you individuals tell me that if you say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, like there is no deity except God, and that Muhammad is the messenger of God, that no matter what, I'll get to heaven. But the Quran states, or you even go as far as saying that you will go to hell for a few days and then eventually go to heaven. But unfortunately, God states that whoever enters hell is in it forever. So I'm not sure where you guys keep thinking that this idea that you go to hell for a little bit and then go to heaven is found or substantiated just because you have some people that wrote down that that's the case, and then you attribute it to a prophet. So now your religion is based on falsehood, and you guys are sitting here telling me that I'm getting cooked. I find you guys not being able to substantiate your position with the book of God. Therefore, you guys are getting cooked. And I love it, because it just proves that what we found in the Quran actually destroys all the other falsehood, including you, who claim that you guys follow the Quran, which again we clearly show that you don't. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's get this going. I think he's an antichrist. Wow. I just wonder if YouTube, the people on YouTube, are you guys still capable of? Hold on, is everything good? You're not receiving. Why? Okay. Cool. Let's make sure. All right. Madda.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you?
Doing all right. I have a few questions.
Are you Sunni or Shia?
I'm Sunni.
Okay, so what's your questions, buddy?
So my first question is, what exactly is your stance on the hadith? Do you believe it's all complete fabrication, or do you believe it might be authentic, but we're just not supposed to follow it? Like, what is your stance on it?
Regardless of its authenticity, if it's accurate or not accurate, we are not commanded to follow it in this day and age. And plus, the concept of how authentic the hadith is, nobody is talking about the actual context of the hadith, or the matan, as they say. When someone is saying that it's sahih or da'if or mursal and all the other gradings that they give it, it's because of the chain of narrations. It's got nothing to actually to do with the content. But God has never ordered you anywhere in the Quran to go outside of the Quran for judgment or for religious guidance. So the hadith itself is not something that needs to be followed in religious sense.
Okay, because the reason I was asking this is because regarding the daily prayers, I'm pretty sure you said before that you believe there's only 3 obligatory prayers, correct?
Correct.
So the concept of 5, how do you believe this came to be? Just a complete fabrication again, or what?
No, it's people misunderstandings why things have occurred the way that they occurred. Now, you have to understand that there is 3 times of prayer, but there's also 6 times of glorifications, which is called tasbih, okay? فسبح بحمد ربك قبل طلوع الشمس ومن قبل غروبها ومن أطراف النهار ومن الليل لعلك ترضى. There's something in regards to that. I don't have that verse completely memorized, but where it's saying to glorify your Lord before the rising of the sun and before the settings of the suns and at the ends of the day, which has to be 3 or more, and then during the night. So that gives you 6 times of glorifications. And then you have 3 times of prayer that align with these times of tasbih. Okay, so the problem is if they made all the times of tasbih obligatory, that would give you 6 times of tasbih, which they say now these are 6 times of prayer. But God talks about the middle prayer, and with 6 you cannot have a middle prayer. So they made the prayer that is after the rising of the sun, which you call duha, right, or the sabah. They made that as an optional, so that you have the rest of them obligatory with the dhahr or asr being the middle one, and then the rest of and the one they added as optional. But if you look at the context of the Quran, God made 3 prayers and 6 glorifications, and the 6 glorifications does not necessitate that it's a prayer. And that's why in your asr and your dhuhr, you don't say it out loud. You don't say the Quran out loud because it's not a time of prayer. So this is how it was clearly detailed in the Quran. And as time went on, people just assumed that it was a prayer and said that it's obligatory.
Right, but I'm speaking from the text of the Hadith. Let's say if we presuppose the authenticity of the Hadith, would you agree then that it's 5 daily, or would you
No.
still disagree?
Because of the story in regards to where he went and got the 5 prayers, and the way that the 5 prayers happened is extremely anti-Quranic. And yet you have the exact same story with the Zoroastrians. So the Zoroastrians have a story with one of their dudes going up to the sky, arguing with God for a little bit, and then coming back and ending up with a certain set of prayers. It's almost, again, it's the same story as the Zoroastrians. Just like how some Sunnis preach that the Sirat al-Mustaqim, the straight path, is a rope that is in between 2 cliffs, where you would walk on this rope over hell, and if you are not given the Sirat al-Mustaqim, the straight path, you fall into hell. And the people who are going to go to heaven is going to walk over this line. Again, this is taken exactly from the Zoroastrians. So the hadith narrative that you're claiming is just anti-Quranic. So even if we give it its authenticity, it goes against the Quran.
Okay, but earlier you were saying it's a misunderstanding, and now you're framing it like a complete fabrication. So the 5 daily prayers that the Sunni get, is that a complete fabrication, or from the Hadiths, is it a misunderstanding?
So there was 5 prayers that there was 6 prayers that people did, which actually 3 prayers and 6 times of glorifications. And the fabrication happened when they wanted to make it 5 obligatory prayers. The way that they were passing off these obligatory prayers was with a hadith that was completely fake and not authentic. But in the beginning, people were already making 6 prayers in a sense, but 3 of them were actually prayers, and 3 of them were not prayers, but a time of glorification, which looks like a prayer. But there's no Quran.
So is it fair to say that your position is if we somehow time traveled back to the time of the Sahaba, we would see them only doing 3 obligatory prayers?
Correct. They would have more emphasis on 3 prayers than any other prayers. And you could see that even in your own hadith. So when the Prophet is doing the Fajr prayer, he would read really long surahs, very long surahs. Okay, there's times where the Prophet would read all of chapter 2, which is almost an hour and a half of a prayer. And then it's the same thing in his night prayers. There are some hadith in regards to the Maghrib needs to be short, or the Maghrib needs to be at a certain length, which I believe is actually against the Quran. But it's not like I follow it. But with your Dhuhr and Asr, it's literally 2-minute prayer, 5-minute prayer. So where there is no Quran being read, and which is against the Quran. You know, the Quran is telling you that this is not how a prayer is done. So yes, the Prophet and his Sahaba would not go against the Quran.
Okay, and in regards to this position, is this a position that you find
Yes.
find people in history claiming, or is this relatively a new position?
No, this is something that has been documented from early Islam, but the unfortunate part is when people are controlling the printing press and they're controlling what gets propagated and what gets mass produced, it's usually the people in power. So when the Mu'tazilites was around, there was many books that were talking about the intricacies or the intricate nature of the prayer, which some individuals understood that it's three. This is some things that were written, but as well, the only reasons why we find this is because the Sunnis commentary on it. So if I am a person that is a Quran alone Muslim and I take over Mecca, I'm going to go ahead and burn all these hadith books because it's anti-Quranic. It's got nothing to do with the Quran, and I will not allow people to preach it, nor will I allow people to print it if I was in the ruling power. So when the Mu'tazilites got kicked out and the Sunnis, after the Shafi'i took a hold, all their material and the majority of their publications were burnt and removed. We see this time and time again in history. So the only people that would be preaching about this is only found in Sunni commentary under a bad light or a black light, because they were enemies. So every time a Sunni was commenting on the Mu'tazilite or Ahlul Kalam, it was always out of context, and it's always in a way to paint them as bad people. So no, we do not have the actual material of what people were saying, but rather the commentary of Sunnis on it.
Yeah, but it's not just Sunnis, right? You have Shias from different parts of the world as well who all agreed upon the 5 times prayer, although they said you can combine it.
Shias have 3. Yeah. But then you also have the people of the book. So the people of the book, they all have 3. The Christians and the Jews have 3.
I'm saying from what they claim.
But that's regardless. You could go to certain sects of Khawarij where they pray 3 times a day.
No, but your whole argument was that, whoever's in position will make up their own agenda. But I'm saying you have...
No, I was talking about the documentations of history. You said that people have been taking this position earlier. I said there's a very difficult way to show you if people have done so or not. The only renditions of what people are done is based upon what you guys keep saying. In early history, you can't say how many times the Prophet prayed, because you yourself is telling me that the Prophet had to go up to the sky to get 5 prayers. So what was he doing before that? There was times where the Prophet allegedly was praying 2 rakats for all of them, and then they became 2, 4, 4, 3, and 4. Which again has absolutely no basis in what God is saying. How do you know that it wasn't 2 throughout the whole time of the Prophet? You have mixed stories in regards to what people said in the actual prayer. So there's also mixed stories on how your Friday prayer was being conducted. So now you have a guy that sits on the pulpit and he gives a khutbah, but when you look at the hadith, they didn't sit on the pulpit and give a khutbah. They actually just sat and read the Quran, and then they performed a quick prayer. This is actually very evident in the hadith. And you, as a Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, from the however many Friday sermons the Prophet had to give, you only memorized 1, you only written 1. Yet you've written all these side events on how many times Aisha had a menstruation, and how many times the Prophet, and how many times he had sex with his wives. Yet the Friday sermons were never recorded. So that makes no sense. A lot of what's presented in the hadith is to actually mitigate the problems where people found contradictions with the Quran, what the government was preaching.
You could prove in history there were people who only prayed 3 times a day, and then later on you said, no, you can't really prove it because these Sunnis burned the books. So can you prove that they used to pray 3 times a day, or
Shias pray 3 times a day?
They have 5 daily prayers, but they combined it.
So they have 3 prayers a day?
It's still separate in the sense of Asr and Dhuhr are separate salah, but they combined it.
Those are apologetics that you are telling me. I don't care about the apologetics. When you're looking at the reality, I can't say that I'm praying 5, yet I'm praying 3 times. How many times are they praying? It's not about the combination.
I'm giving you their view. If you go ask a Shia, how many daily salah are there? They're going to tell you 5. So that's what I'm telling you. I'm giving you
I get what you're saying, but saying things, it does not make it that that's what's occurring. For example, the Sunnis say that the Quran is the actual king where you get your legislations from, and then we get comments like the Hadith abrogates the Quran, and therefore you say things, right? But then the application, what we view, is different than what you're saying. So how many prayers do they pray when they combine?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's still 5.
So, okay, in those 5, how do they pray it? How many times do they pray it?
They do separate intention in salah, but they do it at the same time.
So how many prayers do they pray?
5.
5 at how many times?
If they wish to combine it at 3 different times.
So 3 prayers.
No, not necessarily.
3 times of prayer.
If I pray my obligatory asr and then pray a sunnah after, is that 1 prayer or 2?
1 prayer.
I mean, I guess we just differ then there. There's like
Yeah,
not
because
much I can
you
say.
don't know what prayer is at this point. Here's a question for you: if I combine all my prayers to Isha, okay, I do my Fajr, Asr, Dhuhr, Maghrib, and Isha at Isha time, okay, evening time. How many times have I prayed? 1 time. I'm just telling God, like, this is for the morning, this is for the noon, this is for the afternoon. But God is gonna go through what? The reality and the truth, not by what you're saying.
No. You've done 5, but only 1 was accepted.
You can't do the 5th one when you haven't made up for the other 4. That's according to your religion.
No. I'm saying if you do all of your salah at night, right at Isha time, only the Isha is accepted, but you've still done 5 salah.
That makes absolutely no sense.
Why
don't
not?
don't you tell me that I have to make up my salahs, the ones that I missed?
No, it depends on if you've missed it for no reason. I don't.
Hey, don't you tell me that if I miss prayers in my life, right, that I would be sent to hell until I finish those prayers to get to heaven?
No. I follow Ibn Taymiyyah's view on this.
Ibn Taymiyyah's view. So if I missed 1 salah on purpose, I'm a kafir.
No, he did not say that.
So when do I make up my missed prayers that I did on purpose? That I did on purpose as a Muslim.
If you purposely missed out on all your salah, I don't know the exact period of time, I'm not a fiqh scholar, but a certain period of time, then you leave the fold of Islam, and when you come back, because you rejoin the fold of Islam, all your sins are forgiven, so you do not need to make those up.
Okay, so if I purposely, let's follow your logic, if I purposefully miss my salah, I go commit zina, and then I say I'm back to being a Muslim, all my sins are forgiven. Because I've left Islam, I went committed a crime, and I came back almost as a revert at this point, correct?
This is not Judaism. God knows what you're doing. It's not some type of loophole.
Perfect. So God is aware of what you're doing. When you're standing at a single time of prayer, when you're sitting at single time of prayer, however many times are you saying, oh, I'm praying for morning prayer or evening prayer or Asr prayer, this is you being a Jew at this point. You playing lawyer with God. You are standing in a prayer at that moment for you to commit up to a prayer. It doesn't matter how many rak'ats or how many units or sunnah, obli, after, and all of this. It is the time that you are dedicating for prayer, and that's what's going to be accepted from you. To sit here and to classify it to certain times, it makes no sense. So when you're saying that the Shias are combining 2 prayers, that's playing a lawyer with God. Because if you bring the book of God and you try to tell me where you're getting your religion from, nowhere in the Quran does it talk about 5 prayers. And God is the one who's going to dictate. So we went around in this whole circle for you to tell me about what the history, what these other books and these other sects and what you do and what Ibn Taymiyyah said and all these individuals, but yet you have not looked into the Quran, what classifies as a prayer, the times of the prayers and the counts of the prayers, and nowhere does it actually align to what you said. That's the problem. See what's the problem?
Okay, if I said I looked at the Prophet for what prayer was, is this not sufficient?
You haven't. Have you witnessed the Prophet? Have you talked to the Prophet?
Well, now you're presupposing the Hadith is inauthentic.
It's not presupposed. You are the one who's coming with the confirmation. You are the one who's claiming that it's true, yet you cannot prove that it's true.
No.
Because
Let me phrase it this way.
Habibi, being true, it does not necessitate that it's the chain that makes it true. That's not what makes it authentic. Let's look at the actual content.
No, but if you affirm that the chain...
Go ahead.
If you affirm the chain as authentic, okay, even if we removed the chain, if I somehow proved 100% this is the way the Prophet prayed, would you accept it or would you deny it?
Well, prove it and then we will accept it.
No, I'm asking a hypothetical. Because you're claiming...
Prove it, and I will accept it. But it has to align with the Quran.
Your understanding of the Quran.
What, the Prophet can't make an error?
In the Salah or in theological manners?
In any manner.
No, in worldly manners, he can make an error.
In theology, he can't do shirk?
No, he cannot do shirk.
So why God is threatening him that if you do shirk, that I will give you double the punishment in the world and double punishment in the hereafter. If it's not possible for him to do shirk, why is God threatening him?
Yeah, it's a statement for us to witness.
Against us or against the prophet?
No, it's a statement for us to see his. It's like a.
Can the prophet do shirk?
No, the prophet cannot do shirk.
So it's an empty threat.
It's something for us to read. So we see.
So,
It's
but
like
it's an
how
empty threat.
the Quran says that we will see him.
You guys minimize how honest and truthful God is, okay? So when God is issuing a threat to the prophet, which the prophet never does, it's impossible for the prophet to do shirk, then that's considered an empty threat. If God wanted to address us, okay, and talk to us about not doing shirk, he would have addressed us. He's directly addressing the prophet. And he says that these are the prophets of God. وَلَوْ أَشْرَكُوا, and if they committed shirk, right, if they cause idolatry, لَحَبَطَ عَنْهُمْ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Whatever they were doing, it would have fell off them. So God is telling us, yes, they can clearly do shirk, but obviously they did not do shirk. You see what I mean? So they stopped themselves, but they had the ability to do so. 1, 2, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّبِيُّ لِمَا تُحَرِّمُ مَا أَحَلَّ اللَّهُ لَكَ. O Prophet, why are you forbidding something on yourself that God has made legal for you? So forbidding and making something forbidden, making something legal, right? He still made an error. And you guys claim that it's all wahi from Allah. So when he made it forbidden on himself, was that God inspiring him to do so? You're going to say, no, it wasn't. So therefore, the prophet is still a human being like you and me. But the prophet had a connection with God where when God decided to do so, he would communicate with the prophet. But God was not 100% at all times communicating with the prophet, because you yourself would say that the wahi stopped at certain times. And there was a few years where wahi did not come to the prophet, and that's when the verse says ما ودعك ربك وما قلى ألم نشرح لك صدرك. So your Lord has not left you, right? So you guys don't understand how the wahi is being said or it's being done. You guys are making this.
I never claimed. You put that into my mouth. I never claimed every word from the prophet was wahi.
Okay,
I
perfect.
never claimed that.
But you clearly said that the prophet will not make any errors or mistakes. And I'm showing you where the prophet is making errors and mistakes, even in regards to theology. And he even had the ability to do shirk. I'm not saying that he ever did.
No, but this is like, he can make judgment errors. But this is not theological error. It's like when Allah rebukes the prophet for turning away from the blind man. This is an error on his part, but this is not a theological error.
Do you understand when you can make a theological error, okay? Doing so or not doing so is not what we're talking about. Did he have the ability to do so? Yes. And he did make a theological error when he was forbidding something on somebody, where God says that I made this legal. So if I'm forbidding something on myself and my wife, where God made it legal and I'm getting admonished, she has to follow me, not because I'm her husband, but because I'm a messenger of God. Do you understand? It's not me saying to my wife, hey, don't ride the car at night. I'm telling her that this is haram for me and you. And he said, don't do that because I made it halal. This is a theological error. This is not an error in judgment at this moment. And God says, وَمَا كَانَ لِنَبِيٍّ أَن يُغِلَّ, right? And it was not for a prophet to cause a burden. Let me get the verse. And it says that he will come with everything that he has burdened on the day of judgment. So a Nabi can cause problems. But of course, he has connection with God where God will correct his error. And if he chooses to correct himself in life, it will work out for him. If not, then he's going to live the way that he chose to live. He's a human being. Do you understand that? You guys make them bigger than life, but they're human beings. They're the
Quran itself says that the prophet is a great moral example, correct?
Where?
Let me pull up the verse. I don't remember.
You said moral example, right?
Where it says, I don't remember the verse word for word.
So which one are you talking about? When God states, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ أُسْوَةً حَسَنَةً في رسول الله, there's a good pattern or a good example in the messenger of God?
Yes. Would God bestow such a verse upon somebody who may commit shirk?
Yes,
Sharik?
because he said the exact same thing about Abraham.
When did
لقد
Ibrahim commit shirk?
No, I'm not saying that Ibrahim committed shirk. I'm saying the same statement was said about Ibrahim. Ibrahim was
Yeah, and I
literally
affirm the
said,
same thing about Ibrahim. He would not commit shirk.
it's not about that he didn't. He has the ability to do so. You're saying that he did not have the ability to do so. The argument is a little different. I have the ability to go drink the water, okay? And you're saying that this person has the ability to drink water, but he never did, okay? Does not mean that I did not have the ability to do so. You are saying that the Prophet had no ability to do shirk, which is not the
Okay, I
case.
suppose if you wanted to argue from a free will standpoint, but he was always protected from that.
No, he's
It was
not, bro.
impossible.
This is where you guys lie. He is not protected from not doing shirk. He can go out and do shirk. There's nothing protecting that. God is not going to impose on the Prophet. The Prophet is still going to stand for his decision. And the verse that I was going to tell you, مَا كَانَ لِنَبِيٍّ أَنْ يُغُلْ وَمَنْ يُغْلِلْ يَأْتِ بِمَا غَلَّ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. It is not for a prophet to burden. And whoever causes a burden, he comes with his burden on the day of judgment. And there's another thing. كَانُوا يَقْتُلُونَ النَّبِيِّينَ بِغَيْرِ حَقٍّ. They used to kill the prophets without the right. There are moments where you can actually even kill a prophet if you had the right. If the prophet committed a murder and that murder was not justified, you have every right to go for soul for soul. You individuals from where you come from and the way that you grew up, you put the prophets on a way where they're above the law. You put the prophets above what the Quran actually preaches. You give exceptions and these non-human attributes to prophets where God never ordered you to do so. And this form of idolatry and this form of like looking at them as Marvel characters is truly what gets you in this position that you are in now, where you cannot make a positive claim on what the Quran states or not. And then you don't compare it to the human being who's my prophet. He's in the highest form of authority on earth. I don't take away from his authority, just like a king. I'm not saying that they're just like kings. Like in this day and age, we have presidents and we have kings and we have community leaders and whatnot, but they're still human beings. And it's the same thing with the prophet. The prophet is sitting in authority higher than all these people, but he's still a human being.
But my understanding of this is, how could God claim that great example, yet you are claiming he is capable of doing the most atrocious things, being shirk? How could that be a good example unless he's protected
he has
from
the ability to commit murder, to commit zina, to burn everything, to burn the Quran, to go cause all sorts of issues. His moral character is he didn't. You understand that? Like he controlled himself as the moral character, the great pattern, the great example. He the verse says, لقد كان لكم أسوة حسنة في رسول الله من كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر. Whoever wants God in the last day. The Prophet was constantly thinking on the last day. So hey, if I commit shirk, I'm going to lose my God. So I'm not going to commit shirk. If I sit and commit zina, even though this girl is beautiful, I'm going to lose my God. So I'm not going to commit zina. So this mentality is what the Prophet is teaching us. But to say that the Prophet never said, I can't even commit shirk. You know, it's like it's not working that way. There's many verses where God is clearly warning him, like, hey, if you commit shirk, you're done. You know that, right? Like, you know that, right? And there's a verse in chapter 6 where the guy was given signs from God. Okay, so he was on par to becoming a messenger. But the guy, he rejected the signs and he stopped following the signs, and he started to like solidify himself on earth and the worldly life. So the devil started to follow him and he became of the ghaween. And his example is like a dog. Like if you like let him carry things, he's panting. And if he's not lifting anything, he's still panting. And that is the example of the disbelievers. So this is where you guys don't get the language of the Quran on how detailed it is.
Very well. Okay, I'm gonna ask one more question and then I'll go.
Last question, yeah, because I have other people as well, please.
Of course. My question is, what is your position on the actual Sunnis? Do you believe they're all kuffar or what?
What's your position on the Christians?
Is that your comparison?
Yep.
People who say Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and the Father are all God, and you compare that to the Sunni?
Well, what's your position?
Prophet,
What's your position on Jews?
Okay, yeah, of course they're. But I'm saying you. So you equivocate those two?
Yeah, you guys are like the Christians and Jews. You're Ahlul Kitab.
So
You're
is
not
it fair?
believers.
So it's accurate to say you takfir, 1.9 billion Muslims.
In regards to what, takfir, that you guys are not on the great path or the straight path? Yeah, you're not.
No.
But does that mean that you're going to hell?
You
No.
claim disbelievers.
Yeah. Because when the
But
Quran is being recited to you, you guys don't follow it. Like, you guys don't care what the Quran states. So, like, you're gonna sit here and try to guilt trip me. God is the one who's saying it. Like, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ فَرَّقُوا دِينَهُمْ وَكَانُوا شِيَعًا لَسْتَ مِنْهُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ. The Prophet has absolutely nothing to do with you. The Prophet never, ever ordered you to go to these other books. And yet when I'm telling you the Quran is saying against what you're saying, like the Quran clearly verbatim, no interpretations, no interpolation, nothing. The Quran clearly saying something and your hadith is clearly going the opposite way and you're taking the hadith, this is 100% kufr. But to say, oh, you are making takfir and all this, bro, God is making the takfir on you, not me. God is the one who's calling you a mushrik.
You are claiming that your interpretation is superior.
It's not
to
my
1.9 billion.
interpretation, brother. It's not my interpretation.
At the end of the day, brother, there's no way you can get around. It is a interpretation, brother. There's no way. It's a human that's going through.
Brother, it is 100% from verbatim what the God is saying. Do not be of the idolaters. Do not be of the mushrik. الَّذِينَ فَرَّقُوا دِينَهُمْ وَكَانُوا شِيَعًا.
How is a Sunni a mushrik?
Okay, one, you are judging outside of the book of God. Okay, that is akin to shirk. Two, you call Muhammad directly in your prayer. That is literally calling upon somebody other than God in your prayer.
What do you mean we call upon him?
Okay, when you're gonna say Tahiyatu lillahi wa salawatu wa salamu alayka ya ayyuhan nabi. Isn't that not talking to him directly, ayyuhan nabi?
But we have a hadith that states that it is the angel who presents this to him. We are not directly calling upon him.
When you're saying ayyuhan nabi, are you talking to the angel or are you talking to the Muhammad?
We are not talking. We're talking to Allah.
No, you're not. No, brother. You're lying.
We are asking him to send salawat upon the Prophet, no?
Tell me the difference. Tell me the difference in language, okay? Salawat wa salamu ala nabi. Salawat wa salamu alayka ayyuhan nabi. What's the difference? One is me telling God, send blessings to Muhammad, and the other one is me saying, bless you, Muhammad. One is directly communicating with Muhammad, and the other one's communicating with God. So don't play lawyer. The Arabic language is a clear language. It's a clear tongue. And you know exactly what I'm saying. You're talking directly to Muhammad in your prayer, and this is not. This is shirk.
Okay. All right. So I'll leave it at this. So you equivocate the Sunni to the Christian and the Jew. This is correct, right?
Correct. Sunnis and Shias are equivalent. The same way God explains the Christians and the Christians and the Jews in the Quran is what I see the Sunnis and the Shias do. It's the exact same. It's the exact same disease. Okay. It's the exact same problem. العداوة والبغضاء إلى يوم القيامة. The Sunnis and the Shias hate themselves and hate each other till the day of judgment. When God states, when the book is actually told to you, you guys turn your back as if it's not being listed to you. You guys say that the fire will touch you only on a few days. You tell me that be a Sunni for you to be guided. The Shia will tell you be a Shia to be guided. We tell you the way of Abraham, the creed of Abraham is sufficient for us. When we recite the book of God to many of you, you guys don't listen, you guys laugh, you turn away. تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق فبأي حديث بعد الله وآياته يؤمنون. These are the verses of God we recite to you in truth. And what hadith after God and his verses do they believe? You hide a lot of what the book says, and you follow your scholars and you put them into the level of lords. You literally tell me I cannot refute Bukhari, I cannot refute Ibn Ishaq, I cannot refute Bin Baz and all these other people that you put.
What are you talking about? Hold on. Who said you cannot refute? Ibn Ishaq is not 100% authentic in his seerah.
Is Bukhari? Is Bukhari 100% authentic? Is everything that he wrote sahih?
Even Albani said there are some weak hadith in Bukhari. So I mean, if somebody wants to hold the position, it's 100% authentic, no problem. But nobody can claim this as a theological thing, 100% authentic.
Mm-hmm. So when they're saying Sahih al-Bukhari, that's a lie, right?
I didn't say that. When did I say that?
I'm asking you.
No. I said even Albani, because you said,
I don't care about Albani. I'm asking you. Your theology is when they say Sahih al-Bukhari, that's a lie. It's not Sahih then.
I believe the book itself is authentic, and perhaps you can say a narration here and there inauthentic. But I'm not a scholar. I cannot tell you.
Do you understand that it's not your scholars that are going to stand for you on the day of judgment? You're going to stand for yourself. If I'm going to label something as the holy prophet and the prophet is not holy, okay, I'm going to stand for my lie. When you're going to say Sahih al-Bukhari and Bukhari is not Sahih completely, 100%, then you're a liar. That's how it works. So the people, when they say, oh, Jesus is the Son of God, they don't think that they're saying a lie, but they're a liar. That's what God states. So when you're saying words like Sahih al-Bukhari and it's not Sahih, even as one hadith, then you are a liar. Because it's about the testimony. You're not standing actually accurate. And God says, وَلَا تَقِفُ بِمَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ. Do not pursue what you have no knowledge in. You don't know if Bukhari is sahih or not, but I will take the actual safe road and I'll tell you it isn't. Because comparing it to the Quran, it failed.
No, of course it's not compared to the Quran. Nobody claims this is compared to the Quran.
No. Comparing the language of the Quran and the language of the Hadith, the Quran proves that the Hadith is corrupt. But brother, I have to go to the next person. I think we've talked.
All right, brother.
Appreciate it. But I never said that every Sunni or every Shia is going to hell, just so you know. That's not what I'm saying.
But
just
you claim them to be disbelievers. The Quran says the disbelievers are going to be خالدين فيها.
No, إن الذين آمنوا والذين هادوا والنصارى والصابئين من آمن بالله وباليوم الآخر وعمل صالحا فلهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. Those who believe in those the Jews and the Christians and the Sabians who believe in God and the last day and do good deeds, then there will be no fear upon them. I do not expect.
If we take your understanding of this verse, you believe the Trinitarian is going to go to Jannah?
That's not. I'm talking about Trinitarians. I'm not talking in regards to who the Christian is. Listen to me. I'm answering to a point before we divert to something else. Some Sunnis and some Shias that could not escape their everyday programming and they were doing righteous deeds and they're thinking about God in the last day, right? They will have their reward with God, but their heaven is not going to be as good as a person that didn't commit shirk and didn't commit problems, because sometimes you're going to have your issues for committing shirk. Shirk is not forgivable, but nowhere does it say that you're going to have to get punished on the day of judgment. Some people are going through the punishment now on earth, so it expiates that on the day of judgment because they were genuinely good people. They were genuinely a net positive on the world. But this is a different topic.
Quran, that some people who commit shirk only being punished here will not be punished on the hereafter?
Yeah. Where God says it's not forgiven, right? So did the children of Israel commit shirk?
With the golden calf, yes.
Okay, and was it forgiven at the end? After they got punished on earth.
Yeah, but the forgiveness, you seek repentance on earth, then you are forgiven.
Not all of them repented. But they still carried on. But I gotta go, bro. I gotta go to the next person.
I've never seen. Okay, brother.
Yep, please. What's going on?
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm not here to argue. I'm a Qurani as well. I just wanted to say a few points with you.
This is for Sunnis and Shias, but yeah, go ahead. And
Yeah,
you calling
sorry.
yourself
I
a
just wanted to
Qurani is interesting.
Yeah, because I'm Egyptian, and like a lot of people are waking up to this whole thing about the Sunnah. It's been a movement for a few years. Anyways, I just wanted to say for people to like try and observe that the Bible is actually like the Sunnah books. Like the
Yes.
Bible is the 12 disciples or the people that were living with Jesus, and they're the eyewitnesses, and they're saying how Jesus lived, the ways that he was living with, everything. The Sunnah books are exactly the same. For what I'm trying to say is, imagine you're the devil, okay? You're Iblis. If you want to corrupt Islam, and Islam has an incorruptible book, what will you do? You will do what is happening right now. You will create a book and equate it to the Quran and try to let people forget about the Quran and take the whole religion from that other book and make the scholars say, oh, the Quran is too hard to understand. You're not deep in Arabic language so you can understand the Quran. You don't have enough knowledge. the scheme is very, very
Clear.
clear. It's
Yeah.
I don't know how I lived like 20 years without seeing it.
Brother,
I swear it's
the God tells us in the Quran, the plan of the devil is very weak. You just have to recognize it and you see how weak it is. And there's another one, which you said, which is perfect. God states that if the jinns and the humans came together to produce something like the Quran, even if they could see each other and help each other, right? They won't be able to
Yes.
do something like the Quran. And then we have a hadith. I have been given the Quran and something like it.
yes. The thing is, there is
وَمِثْلَهُ.
a lot of scholars in Egypt. If you open Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim,
They have no idea.
hadith you're talking about, the hadith you're talking about, the one that says, "I left behind two things. If you hold dearly, you won't get, you won't go astray." The Quran and Sunnah. If you actually open Sahih al-Bukhari, it actually only says, "I left the Quran." But the thing is, it's a verbal corruption to the hadith. The Shia said Quran and Itrati. Itrati is the family of the
Ahlul
Prophet.
Bayt. Yeah.
And the Sunnis said Quran and Sunnah. They are both, they're like having a war for power, both of them. But the actual hadith, it says Quran only.
Right.
And
There's three.
even-
There's three hadiths. There's three hadiths of it. Yes. The same
There's three?
time. Yeah. There's three hadiths. There's three versions. There's the version where it says, "I left behind one thing, which is the book of God. Whoever holds on to it won't get astray." The second one is, "I have left behind two things, the Quran and the Sunnah, and whoever follows it will never be left astray." And then there's a third one, which states that I have left behind two things, me and Utrati, or Ahlul Bayt, which if you hold on to them, you never let go. So this is this is the Prophet, and they say it's all authentic. Okay? All three of them will say they're all sahih. The Prophet in this moment is because he's a prophet of God, he went into quantum mode, okay? So they were capable, all the people in the group, they heard three things simultaneously. So he would say three things at the exact same time and people had to record it. So now that's how we get Sahih and this issue. And
Yes.
this hadith alone is the reason why the community got split.
The thing is, if people if they use their brain, they will realize, like for example, Bukhari. Bukhari came 200 years after the Prophet, and when people say, then how do you know that the Quran is legitimate? And you answer, you say the content. I agree with that, but also the thing I want to tell you is the Prophet, even the Sunnis, some of the Sunnis actually say this, the Prophet had katabatul wahy, people that wrote the Quran down the minute the Prophet said it. They say, oh no, the Quran was collected 20 something years after the death of the Prophet. It was not collected. Osman ibn Affan memorized the Quran already when the Prophet was alive. Why would he want to collect it? He can just write it down. Use your head. He can just write it down. Why do you...
There's a hadith where the Quran was collected by 4 people already by the time the Prophet has passed away.
Yeah, yes, but that doesn't has to be true. Why would they collect something? What happened was Uthman ibn Affan, he had the Quran, he had the right, he had the correct Quran. Some people wrote some things wrong after the death of the Prophet. So Uthman ibn Affan went and burned the wrong things. He did not collect something. Why would he collect something he memorized already and can write it down in like a few days? You get what I'm saying? Why would he collect something he already memorized? So the argument that the Quran was collected, it was not collected. He burned the wrong versions of the Quran and told people this is the right Quran.
It's a little deeper than that. If you look at it, he was standardizing it. It's not that there was different versions or different things. People had it in different orders and there was scribal errors, yes. But the message was not different in different Qur'ans. There's one Qur'an that he went and standardized it so people would have one certain copy. But when I said that it was collected, that means like Jama'ahu, it's not like people went and brought it together. There was people who wrote it, and there was 4 individuals that had it written from the beginning to the end in just different orders. So, but this was during the time of the Prophet. And this is, I don't know if you go on my YouTube channel, I had a debate with Ali Dawah in regards to this, where he was like, oh, the same people who gave you the Quran are the same people who gave the Hadith. No, it's...
I hate that argument though.
Yeah, but God clearly states in the Quran, فَاكْتَتَبَهَا, like that even the disbelievers were seeing him writing things down, or people writing things down for him, right? قالوا أساطير
Okay.
الأولين اكتتبها فهي تملى عليه بكرة وأصيلا. So they're witnessing him writing things down. And the longest verse in the Quran, okay? يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين فاكتبوه. So if you're gonna write your financial agreements down, you're not gonna write the most important text in the world down.
Yes, yes. But the thing is, the argument they're saying is the way that the Quran reached you is the same way that the Hadith reached you. So
No.
if you're saying that the Hadith is illegitimate, then the Quran is illegitimate. That is the weirdest argument I've ever heard. And
Brother,
it's
there's an argument when they present it to me, and I said this to Muhammad Hijab, and which they don't know it. The Sunnis don't know this. Muhammad Hijab used the same argument. Is that the Hadith and the Quran was translated by the same people. I said, which Quran do you read? He goes, Hafs. Okay, do you know Hafs? And Asim, his
Yes,
teacher,
yes.
and
Qira'a.
Shu'bah, the other student of Asim. All three of them are considered weak hadith narrators. So the Quran that you're reading, the person who narrated to you, you have absolutely no credibility to taking his hadith. So it's not the same people.
Yes.
But Habibi, I have to go and
Okay,
discuss
yes, I'm
with
sorry.
the.
Good. Okay, thank you for everything you're doing, bro. Okay, sorry.
God bless you.
Bye bye.
Salam.
Bye bye. Salam.
Right. Da. No, sorry.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Zart?
Yeah, bro, I'm gonna like go in like 1 minute. I just wanted to say, like, bro, I'm working with other like Quran centrics, right? And bro, I'm telling you, 2026 is wallahi, it's gonna be such a good year.
You have no idea what we have in we have a
Bro,
lot
I'm
in
gonna
the chamber, bro.
we're destroying Islamic dilemma. I'm telling you, it's a way Sunnis don't even know because it
This
even destroys their own books.
the Islamic
So
dilemma. I'll show you. I had if you go to my YouTube channel, I've made a
Yeah.
15-minute video which completely refutes both of them. Completely
Yeah.
destroys them, because the word that is clearly used in the Quran, مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ, confirming to what is in between its hands or between its grasp. So if the Quran talked about a subject matter, that's what's being confirmed.
Yeah.
If it's not talked about, then it's not there. And God never confirms the letters of Paul in the Quran, so game over. Like,
Yeah, like there's another thing, like me and this Quran-centric brother, like when we were like looking into this, we looked deep into it, and like there's so many things we looked at, and we found out many things. Like I know people won't agree with me, but like the gospel just being more of a message, a specific message, and not really a scripture. And the scripture is,
I wouldn't
you
go as
know,
far as that, because there is a where God says أنزلنا عليك الكتاب مصدقا لما بين يديه وأنزل التوراة والإنجيل من قبل, and the Torah and Injil were considered as kutubihi at one verse. So it is still a text. It's still something that had to be written down. So that's either with God or we're here. And with this, it shows that it's here. So I wouldn't go as far as saying
like I do know like the Quran confirms the gospel, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I won't go into it. It's like more of a secret thing. Like it's like
Yeah,
something
leave
we're
it for
preparing.
later. I think
I'm
it's
telling you,
easier.
like this answer that we'll give is going to obviously destroy Islamic dilemma argument, and it will also be really bad for people who accept hadith. It's such a weird argument. Like us destroying Islamic dilemma will somehow weirdly also bring massive question to hadith. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
So this is the thumbnail of like the video that I released on my YouTube channel in regards to this. This was 2 days ago, and it's like it's such an easy argument to deal with. But I don't know if Wes will ever have the courage to sit and talk with me. I might do one with David Wood, God knows. But yeah, thank you, brother, for coming up. I do have to see if somebody's up for a debate. So peace. Brothers and sisters, I really appreciate you guys coming up who believe in the Quran. I do want to keep the airlines open for the Sunnis and Shias to defend their positions. yeah, so I was just waiting for more individuals to come up and to actually defend their positions. And for the Quran alone people, the believers, you're more than welcome to come on Fridays. Fridays on my YouTube channel, as where I have an open forum for individuals to come and tell me what they believe and what they think. Thank you, Brother Reshe. God bless you, bro. Nectar. The Prophet warned us about these Quranists. Check the Hadith. That was not written by the Prophet. And the Prophet also told you not to write anything about me other than the Quran. Check your Hadith. That one's actually Sahih. Man, people are funny. All right, let's see. What's going on, Darsat? No, Darsat is gone.
Bismillah. Yo, brother, how's it going, man?
I'm doing well. How are you? Are you a Sunni or a Shia, brother?
Yo, bro, how's it going?
Pretty good.
I've got some questions for you, bro.
Are you a Sunni or a Shia?
I follow the Hikmah. So I'm not a Sunni. I'm also from the Ahlul Bayt. I don't say that I follow the Sunnah. I follow the Sunnah, I'm not Sunni.
I think we had a conversation before, right?
Yes, we have, yes, bro.
And it didn't end very healthy at the end, right?
No, because the only thing we talked about was the 5 prayers in the one verse.
Okay,
This
so
doesn't mean that. But we won't talk about that because...
But didn't you threaten me at the end that you're a Mahdi and what's coming for me and all?
You called me the Mahdi. I never said I was the Mahdi. You called me the Mahdi, bro.
Okay, but you did threaten me that you should see what's coming to you and all this other nonsense, right? That was you.
Wallahi, I just said just wait to see, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna keep waiting.
You know, the hawk always comes.
Yeah, I'll keep waiting. So, I remember that individual. Darsa,
Yo.
what's going on?
Assalamu alaikum, bro. What are you saying?
Walaikum salam. Are you Sunni or Shia?
I'm Sunni.
Habibi, tell me.
Yo, I'm not a debater or anything, but I just got a question to ask.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Quran, it says, for example, it says ينفقون.
I don't know what you said because you like tabbed out.
In the Quran it says الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون.
Yep.
That they believe should believe in the unseen and they should establish the prayer.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was to ask you, how do you establish the prayer? What answer would you give me? Like,
So God has
'Cause-
many verses in the Quran on how you establish the prayer.
okay, can you give me like an example?
Yeah, so before you do iqamat as-salah, you have to go wash. You wash your face, you wash your hands to the elbows, you wipe your head, you wipe your feet, okay? And then you stand, you face towards the Qibla, as God tells you that it's the Masjid al-Haram. And then وَاتْلُ مَا أُوحِيَ لَيْكَ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةِ. So recite what has been given to you from the book and perform the prayer, right? And then prostrate. And after you prostrate, you do dua as well. فَدَعَ إِلَى رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. And that would conclude your prayer.
Okay, and another thing, there's another ayah in the Quran.
That was easy.
Yeah, I'm not a debater like that. I just want to ask you a question. Okay, there's another thing that it says that to follow Allah and to follow the Prophet and what he has said and what he's forbidden.
Tell me that verse. You can't just make up a verse. The word ruku', Maj is like, so you don't do ruku'. Ruku' means kneeling in Arabic. Masjid al-Haram is the mosque in Mecca. In the heart of Mecca, bibatni Mecca.
In Surah Hashr, ayah number 7.
فَمَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That
this
one,
is, what is this about?
So I'm saying it says that you should follow what the Prophet has said.
No, it says مَا أَفَاءَ اللَّهُ عَلَى رَسُولِهِ. So whatever bounty that the Prophet was given, in regards to the wars or after the war, whatever he was able to take over, right? Then some of it is for God and his messengers, some of it's for the close, like the relatives, some of it's for the poor people, and so that it does not become circulating with the rich people among you. And whatever the prophet's giving you, you take it. And whatever the prophet tells you, do not take it, forbids you from it, don't take it. That's literally what it's about. It's got nothing to do with your hadith books. That verse has nothing to do with what the hadith is saying. It's talking about war bounty. So don't just quote part of the verse. Quote the whole verse.
Okay. I'm done.
Have a nice day, brother.
You too.
Abu Sulaiman is asking, can you bring the full salah details from hadith? I'll wait. I'll wait. Let's see. Mahmoud, servant of Allah. What's up, Mahmoud, servant of Allah?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Are you Sunni or
How are
Shia? I'm doing well.
Not brother, not. I'm
Yo,
just a Muslim, alhamdulillah.
alhamdulillah. But my good brother,
I just,
this stream is for an open debate. So what's up?
well, I want to debate about how he explained the Salah. Is it not there one ayah in the Quran that actually gives you the way to actually establish Salah?
To establish the salah?
Yeah,
Which ayah
one
is that?
single ayah. أُتْلُ مَا أُوحِيَ إِلَيْكَ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةِ.
Okay.
What does that mean?
I didn't I say that?
No, actually, you did not. You said there's many
But when I was
verses in
explaining,
for the Salah.
when I was explaining to him, did I not use that verse?
You have, but you haven't used it in the right context, did you?
Okay. So we're going to isolate every other verse that's talking about iqamat as-salah, and we're just going to focus on one salah.
Yeah, because this way it actually tells you how to establish Salah.
So it's by the prayer, it's by reciting the book, correct?
Yeah, so do you recite the book before or during the Salah?
During the salah.
And what does the ayah say?
أتل ما أوحي إليك من الكتاب وأقم الصلاة.
Wa aqim as-salah. So
Yeah.
first, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do first?
You recite the book and you establish the prayer.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. That's my
Right.
question. So
So
when you
do you,
explain the Salah that way you are,
Mhm.
it's not the way in the Quran, is it?
Mhm. So if you do not recite the book, can you establish the prayer?
What does it mean
Mhm.
to recite the book first and then establish the Salah? What does it exactly mean?
So to recite the book is to read the book and you establish the prayer when the book is being recited. Because when the book is being recited, you're capable of reflecting on the prayer, on the words of God. The word salah means
What does it mean? What does it mean when it says ma uhiya ilayka min
what has been
al-kitab?
revealed to you of the book.
So what is
Mhm.
revealed to you from the
Mhm.
book?
So what is revealed to you of the book? That's what I'm saying. ما أوحي إليك من
Yeah, what
الكتاب.
is?
The
Yeah,
words.
what is it?
The words.
The words.
Right.
And what do the words tell you to?
They're teaching you. They're healing you. The form of
Right,
prayer.
healing you, giving you ahkamat,
Mhm.
telling you what to do.
And there's
So
specific times.
establishing the Salah,
There's specific times you have to do that. What are the times that you have to do that? To reflect on the book and to read it.
are you annoyed by any chance? Because I see in
Because
your face you're getting annoyed.
because I am getting annoyed because I understand where this is going. You're gonna say
Yeah,
that there's no rituals.
because what you did, you called the Salah a worship. You have
Where
to
did I
face
say
a
that?
certain
You
way.
have to
You,
as far as face the
oh,
qibla.
really?
Yes. Yeah.
So in this
وَجَعَلُوا
ayah,
بُيُوتِكُمْ قِبْلَةً وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ. I'm not here to debate people that
when
don't know the
Allah,
Arabic. I'm not
when
here to
Allah,
debate people that don't
subhanahu,
know Arabic, brother. So
you
for
can't do
example,
that. That's unfair.
it
I'm
is
going to give you
fair
an
because
ayah.
it's ignorance. One second. Do you have to
I'm
wash
going to give
before
you
the
an
prayer?
ayah.
Do you wash
I'm going to
before the
give you an
prayer?
ayah.
Brother, do you wash
Brother,
before the
listen to the
prayer?
ayah.
Okay, tell me the ayah.
I don't pray. I don't pray like you do.
Okay, thank you then. That's the whole point. I knew you don't pray.
Let's go ahead and let me present
Tell
the
me the
ayah.
ayah. Okay, please go ahead.
ليس البر ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم.
Yeah. قبل
What does
المشرق
it mean?
والمغرب. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
what does it mean?
righteousness is not about where you face. Righteousness, right, is a believing God.
Exactly. But
Okay, you need to
what you told me the
stop.
salah was.
You need to stop interrupting me because you're presenting information. So the thing that you need to understand is when somebody is prostrating, right? That's not what gives it piousness. The piousness is the khushu' in the salah. It's the actual connection with God. If there's no spiritual connection with God, then you're doing physical exercises. Facing the left and the east and the west is not the thing that makes it piousness. Okay, that's not the thing. It's not the facing. But facing is part of what you need to do because God clearly tells Moses to make his house a qibla and to establish the salah. And God is telling us our qibla, which is Masjid al-Haram, which now we also understand that you have to face it to establish the prayer. But brother, I don't have conversations with people in this regards at this moment is because it's for the open forums. There's a reason why I do what I do. And these conversations I had many times, and unfortunately you guys don't know the difference between the word salah by itself, wa iqamat as-salah. So have a nice day. Guys, this is for Sunnis and Shias. I don't want to have debates with people that think that they understand what the Quran is saying, and then we get into conversations that is not beneficial for anybody. Like these conversations I have almost weekly with certain individuals, and it just makes absolutely no sense in what they try to explain. So they're gonna take me to the birds, that the birds do sujood, but they don't understand الذين يسمعون القول ويتبعون أحسنه. Those that listen to the words and they follow the best of it. So if you're capable of doing a physical prostration, you should do that. But the physical prostration by itself is not what birr is. It's not what righteousness is. Righteousness is actually understanding that first that prostration includes submission and then you physically show it to God. This is these people don't understand. And there's no point talking to them. What's up, Papa?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Are you Sunni or Shia?
Yeah, my name's Dedi. I'm from Indonesia. I have a question for you, sir.
Are you a Sunni or a Shia?
I'm Sunni.
Okay, so what's up? What's your question?
The question is, since you are not Sunni or either Shia, so what are you now?
Me, I'm a person who follows the Quran. I'm a believer.
So you're still a believer, right?
Yep.
Do you believe in Hadith? On Hadith Bukhari?
Of course not, because it's not from God. Do you believe in it?
I do. Why not?
Because it's not from God. Where did God tell you that you have to believe in the
Because
Hadith of Bukhari?
because I pray. When I pray, I follow the Hadith, right?
Show me when the Hadith is teaching you how to pray.
I cannot show you, but the ulama says that we cannot stick to the Quran only, right?
That's what the ulama said?
To be the
Okay, so you're following what the guy in the mosque is saying, but you're not following what God is saying in the book. So God states that we have not left anything from the book, right? There's everything in the book that you need. The book is completely, the book is in detailed knowledge, okay? God brought down verses that are very precise and then he has clarified them in the book, right? And we have clarified everything in the book. And we have struck an example for all things in the book. So when the Quran is stating that it's complete, that it's fully detailed, it has everything that you need, you're telling me I need your ulama.
Does the book teach how to do salah?
Yes, it does.
Quran?
Yeah, the Quran teaches you the verses that you require to do the salah. Yes.
To do like the detail, like doing tahbiratul ihram, doing tahiyat, like that?
These are the stuffs that you added. It has nothing to do with what the salah is. So the salah, it tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. The salah is supposed to forbid you from evil and immoralities. And the other thing of the salah is waqim salah li dhikri. So established a prayer for my remembrance. Now the word salah by itself, okay, just the word salah, it means divine communication, okay? That's why they say it's a prayer. So either God is talking to you is a form of salah, you talking to God is a form of salah, or you talking on behalf of somebody else to God, or like interceding for someone is another form of salah. Okay, so when God is saying iqamat salah, at that point God is talking about the ritual prayer that people do. And in the ritual prayer, he gave you the guidelines. The way that you apply it can be different from a person to person. But if a person comes to me and he says there's no ritual prayers in the Quran, that person is failing the word iqamah.
So you don't do the prayer like the mainstream of the Muslim then?
It's similar, but I don't. There's certain things that I don't say or do that you guys say and do.
Oh.
When
You
you
have
say
a kind of
tutorial,
share or guru? Do you have guru or share on Islam?
we have people that are studying the book and teaching it to you. And yes, there's many people that came in history that talked about the Quran and the magnificence of the Quran. But I think God himself will teach you the Quran. Allama al-Quran, khalaqa al-insan. So God is the one who is teaching the Quran, and he's the one who created the human. So inna alayna bayanahu. It is upon God to clarify to you. So I don't know why you guys keep looking for individuals and people.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I got a personal question for you. If you are to choose between Sunni and Shia, which one would you choose?
Neither.
If
No, neither.
neither.
Yeah. That's like telling me what would you choose between Jews and Christians? Neither. Why would I choose shirk?
Oh. Okay, syukron ya Syekh. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Pa-pa-pa. No, she left. She was next, Dr. Majnoon. Rain, I saw you make a request.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
How are you, Brother Muhammad?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Are you a Sunni or Shia?
Well, you're going to answer that for me. And I'll tell you why I say this. If the Quran says, Ati'u Allah wa Ati'u Rasul, to follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what does it mean?
Where does it say to follow Prophet Muhammad?
Ati'u Allah wa Ati'u Rasul. What does that mean?
What does Rasul mean?
You tell me. What does it mean? You give me your definition.
Messenger.
Okay, and what does it mean to follow them?
You said follow the Prophet. It says follow the messenger. What's the difference between a messenger and a prophet?
To follow means Shia and Sunnah.
What? Bro.
Both words are correct.
Follow means Sunnah and Shia means follow.
The followers of.
Follow means Sunnah and then Shia
the followers of and to follow.
Okay, but you haven't answered my question. You haven't answered my question, brother. What's the difference between a messenger and a prophet?
What is the difference between a messenger and a prophet?
Mm-hmm.
One comes with a message and the prophet is from Allah. They're both similar.
So are they equal?
What's your opinion on that?
Brother, if you want, I can teach you. But like, you're coming to debate me or you're coming to learn? I don't understand.
Okay.
There's a difference. There's a difference between a messenger and a prophet. So God goes, for example, in one of the verses, مَا يَتَمَنَّى مِن نَبِيٍّ أَوْ رَسُولٍ. So if a messenger or a prophet makes a wish, there's a distinction.
I understand what you're saying.
And God didn't say أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا النبي. He said أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول. Okay, you came to me, you said obey God and obey the prophet. I'm telling you that's not correct. That's not in the Quran.
I didn't say obey. I said follow.
You said أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول. Isn't that the verse you said أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, أطيعوا means obey. So if your translation is wrong, you still use the verse in the Arabic, which is
no, my
obey.
brother, your translation is wrong. It's
what
to
does
follow.
أطيعوا means
because
follow?
we only obey Allah. We only worship Allah. We don't worship the prophets or the messengers. We worship only Allah.
أطيعوا طاعة is obeying. Follow is تبعوا. So يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن كنتم تحبون الله فاتبعوني يحببكم الله ويغفر لكم. اتبعوني here is follow me. Okay? But أطيعوني is different. God never says to obey the prophet. He says obey the messenger. And the prophet had two duties, messengership and prophethood.
So do you believe in the message that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ gave to us?
Hello, I'm a Quran alone Muslim, so yes, I do believe in the message he delivered.
Okay, so if you believe in the message that he delivered, to eat like him, drink like him, sleep like him, talk like him, walk like him, everything that he did, what does that mean?
Where does that say? Where does that say that I have to eat like him and talk like him and be like him and dress like him and have 7 wives like him? Where does that
Does
say
Allah
that?
not tell us to be like our Prophet? Isn't he the best example of all mankind?
Best example, that means that I have to sit here and have the same taste buds as him and dress
So
and talk the same way as him?
Why would you not imitate the greatest example of mankind?
Because God doesn't want imitators. God wants believers. So we're not here supposed to idolize the prophet. He's not a celebrity.
Imitating is believing, isn't it?
No, imitation is you being a copycat and not actually understanding why he did what he did. So God states in the Quran that if he's going to send an angel, he would make him a male and he would dress them the same way that these people are dressing. Okay, so I do not need to dress like I'm in 1400-year-old Arabia. I do not need to dress like it's 650 AD.
I hear you on that one.
Yeah, so but then I don't have to dress like the prophet. One, two, I didn't finish my point. So number two, the prophet did not have running water. He did not have toilets inside the house. The prophet did not have cars and cell phones, and he did not have a society like mine. So the prophet, how he lived 1,400, how he lived 1,400 years ago is not fully compatible how we live today. His morals and the way that he addressed the people and the way that he approached his situations, that is still applicable, which is what the Quran teaches us. But to try to live like him, like it's 1,400 years ago, you're going to get destroyed.
Okay, well, that's for one's iman, one's heart and faith. You can choose to, and you can choose not to live how you want. Anyway, that's personal opinion, right? One can follow to dress the same, and one cannot. It doesn't change anything as long as your belief in Allah is the same. Now, that's like saying when we have a Quran, we have one Quran. Can we copy the Quran and make another copy of the Quran which is exactly the same? You're imitating it, aren't you?
Then this is propagation. This is me propagating a message. I'm going to ask you in a different way so you understand what you said, okay?
I understood what you said.
No, 1 minute. I want you to understand what you said. So if I like Michael Jackson, I think Michael Jackson is awesome, and I start to dress like him, and I start to dance like him, and I start to move like him, and I start to talk like him, and I start to imitate him, what would you call me?
A follower, an imitator,
a fanatic. A fanatic. Yeah. So being a fanatic is something that is akin to idolatry. Do you understand that? That's idolizing somebody. Because your life and the way that you're going to present your life is not going to be the exact same as the prophet. So the prophet was a general. The prophet was a religious leader. The prophet was a politician. The prophet had 7 households. The prophet had children and grandkids. The prophet had much under his control where his mentality needed to be a certain way. So you copycatting somebody that is much higher than you in that regards, thinking that you live like him, you're just idolizing him. But if you learned from him and you understood how he saw the world and his worldview, you would apply it to your life, which your destination is different from the prophet. So imitating the prophet is not going to help you in your life. Learning from the prophet and applying it to your life, that's how you truly find Islam. So imitation.
Can I ask you a question? The Quran was revealed in Arabic?
Yes.
Okay. So the word God doesn't exist in the Quran. It's Allah, correct?
Okay, so do you know Arabic?
A little bit. But
so one second, I get your point. Why do you say God, you don't say Allah? I get it. So when I say the word Al-Rahman, what's Al? If I say Al-Sami', the hearing, what's Al?
The
Okay, Al-Rahman, Al-Sami', Al-Khabir, Al-Alim, Allah. So we know that Al is the. What's La?
The ilah.
The Ilah. Ilah is the deity. Okay? The Al-Ilah is the
No,
deity.
my brother, I don't
Allah
think you
is the
understand where I'm
God.
going with it. I'll tell you why I say this. First of all, the English language is a language of spells and black magic. The word God was a word invented by the Englishman, not by the Islamic man. Go do your history and research where the word God derived from, and you understand what I'm talking about. So why would you use the word God instead of Allah?
Why if I'm speaking Spanish, I would say Dios.
But
If
God,
I'm speaking French, if I'm going to say do.
God in English.
If I'm going to speak Russian, I'm going to say Bog.
But
If
God
I'm going to
is
speak German, it's Gotten, and
you
that's where
sit
they
here
are
and
from.
say that we've been manipulated. You sit here and say that we've been manipulated by the ahadith. But the one who's been manipulated, my brother, is you, because you have the word God in your name, when God is a devil's name written in English to trick you.
So how do you say God in English then? What's the name of God? How can I say that this person is a God? How do I say that in English? Creator. Al-Khaliq.
Yes.
Al-Khaliq.
Yes.
Do you know Jesus is a creator? Do you know God says about himself in the Quran, Ahsan al-Khaliqeen, he is the best of creators. You know you can create something? So the word creator would not equal to
When we
God.
say creator for Allah, He's the creator of everything.
Yes, but you have the ability to create.
Yeah, we can create, but Allah is the creator of everything.
Yes, I agree, but you are still a creator.
But I know what you're trying to do. It's not going to work.
No, I'm telling you what the Quran states. Inna
Tell
Allah
me,
huwa ahsanul khaliqeen.
Where did the word God come from? The word God, it's neither mentioned in the Bible or the Quran. So who invented the word God? Why would you use a word?
The word God is not in the actual English Bible, right? That's what you said.
No, I didn't care about the English translation. I said, what is the Quran revealed to us in Arabic?
Arabic. So why do you want me to use Arabic language in English?
So even the Arabic word, it's not translated to God. It's what they have tricked you to believe. This is Satan's work. And if you're such a preacher of the Quran, then why are you not preaching the Quran only in Arabic?
Because the Quran is a universal message. I'm trying to invite people to God.
Yeah, but there are words and letters in Arabic that they do not have in English.
So that's why you bring it as close as you can to the person. So it's saying the word
and
Muslim.
this is where you're creating confusion, my brother, because you're taking words out of context. The brother made confusion. Yes, you are creating confusion.
I'm creating confusion when you want me to use Arabic words in English. For the person, when I say, hey, I'm a Muslim, he's going to be like, what's a Muslim? Hey, I submitted myself to God. He's going to be like, I understood what you said. So when Musa, he's not talking Arabic to his people, he says, in kuntum muslimin. Do you think he said it in Arabic or he said it in his language?
Well, his language was back then, was his language.
Okay, so the language I'm using today in English, the word God equals Allah.
But you're changing the context of the Quran. Why would you do that?
How am I changing the context of the Quran?
You're a Quran alone Muslim.
So
why are you mixing English with the Quran?
I'm not changing the context of the Quran. I'm translating it.
Speak to us in Arabic.
You have a problem, brother. You have a problem because I don't need to speak to Arabic when I'm speaking to English speakers.
Let me say, you understand what universal languages are, yeah?
So what universal language do you want me to use when I'm speaking to English speakers?
I'll explain to you why. So why did Allah reveal the Quran to us in the Arabic language?
For Arabic
do you know
speakers.
what?
For Arabic speakers.
No, it's incorrect. Incorrect.
Because it's a detailed language. It's a detailed. I'm telling you what God says in the Quran. Okay, I'm telling you literally. Okay, what God says in the Quran. We revealed it in a clear Arabic tongue. The reason why he used a clear Arabic tongue is because it's clear. The word Arabi, okay, it means to be parsed. So because of the nature of the Arabic language, where we have the syntax breakdown, where we're capable of understanding the pronouns and who it's connecting to, and the amount of details that we can show in such a short time with such short words is the reason why it came in Arabic, because it's a lot more clear and detailed. So what our job is as people who speak Arabic in a secondary language is to manifest this word word for the people on the other side. It's not going to be as clear and as precise as the Arabic book, but we have to get it as close as we can to the English speaker so that they get invited to God, so that they could find the presence
you
of God.
can't say as close. You want to know why you can't say as close? Because one letter, if you change one letter, one fatha, one kasra, one kasra, one dhamma in the Quran, then you have changed the whole meaning. Correct?
Have a nice day.
You can't say you can't say, oh, that's the closest interpretation I can get. It doesn't work like that.
So it's not possible to tell the English speakers the Quran. You shouldn't be saying the Quran to English speakers or Spanish speakers.
100%. You know why? And I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why. Salli ala Nabi. Hold on. Salli ala Allah. Hold on a second. I'm telling you. Who else do we pray to?
Salli ala Allah.
They pray to Allah.
No, salli
Maybe
ala
my Arabic
Allah.
isn't maybe my Arabic isn't the best.
Yeah,
maybe
my
Arabic isn't the best.
It's okay, brother.
I'm born in Australia, so take it easy on me.
I get it, bro.
But my point is this. So the Arabic, the way that it's recited, there's a beautiful frequency that gets delivered when we recite. Do you agree? When we pray, we pray
this is
together.
not what I'm here. I'm not
No,
here
no,
for
I'm
this.
trying to prove a point why you shouldn't have God in your name.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Okay, all praise to my God. I'm not going to change what I believe in because of what you present.
Go research the history of English language and where it came from and what it meant.
Where does the word God come from? In the
That's
English
the
language.
Shaitan's word.
Bro,
That's the
where did it come?
Shaitan's language.
Listen to me. Where
If
does
I
the
told
word,
you have a blessed day, what does that mean?
I'm asking you, based if you're showing that you're not ignorant, the word God in English, what is its roots? Which language did it come from?
Okay, it's from, I think it was, I don't want to say exactly, but I think it's before Hebrew.
Before Hebrew, there was the word God. Okay. So
the thing is this, right? So Satan delivers his message through music, and music is haram. Agreed?
No.
Music is not haram?
No, it's not.
Allahu Akbar, I've had enough talking to this bloke. Are you serious?
Where does it say that music's haram in the Quran, bro?
Did you say music isn't haram?
According to the Quran, no, it's not. But according to your hadith, David is doing music, so...
Because music, there's something called, they use this thing called backmasking.
Backmasking. So all music is haram.
So when they say the word dog, they'll say it in the music God.
Oh, so there because
you understand? The English language is corrupted. It's corrupted to create confusion. And my brother, you are a smart person, but you're confused.
Listen, don't call me confused. You can't tell me that I'm confused when I asked you a very basic question. Okay, the word God has a root. Where did they get it from? It's from exactly most of where the English language came from, which is a Germanic language. Okay, so it is from a German root, a Germanic root. It's not the British or the Englishman that came up with the word God, okay? It came down from the other tribes that used to talk about God in a way. So if you go to the Persians, they have Khode, for example, okay? If you go to the Russians, they have Bog to explain what the concept of God is. Because people talked about God constantly. Now you're telling me about how music is haram. When you say something is halal and haram, it has to come from God who tells you it's halal and haram. There's nowhere in the Quran that it says that music is haram. Musiqa. Now in English, the word music is coming from the root word of muse, which you take it back to the Greece, where they had a girl that they used to sing about, and that's where it's concepts of it coming haram, where somebody's idolizing a girl. I understand this concept, but God states in the Quran that the poets who remember God often in their poetry, and they become victorious after their oppression, that God will forgive them.
Poetry and music are two different things.
So music is not a form of poetry. Lyrics is not a form of poetry.
Because they use electronic
Have a nice day, bro. Bro, I appreciate this. I gotta go to the next person.
Based on the frequency of worshiping Allah.
Dr. Majnoon. Please, I have to go to the next person.
Every time someone comes to debate you with something you can't prove
No,
you.
it's
I gotta get
ignorance.
to
God tells me in the Quran.
the
God
fact
tells
that
me
you're
that
saying that
God
music is not
tells
haram,
me.
assalamu alaikum, I've had enough. I don't need to talk to you.
Perfect. Then have a nice day. God tells me in the Quran that I do not need to sit and engage with ignorant people. Like God clearly tells me this in the Quran. Like, why would I sit here and waste my time with ignorance? Rain, how are you? Welcome back. Yeah, there it is. The word God in English comes from the Old English word God, which itself is derived from the Proto-Germanic Guda or Guten, means deity or divine being, from pi, which is invoked. Like, bro, I don't know. These individuals, they come without about like these certain understandings, and this is after we came about like what's wrong with being a fanatic. What's wrong with being a fanatic? Well, God tells you not to be. And we have a verse here. Thank you, Nana. I'll bring it up. The verse is 11:30, right? And it's I don't know if that's the right verse. Double check the verse. Are you here? Rain? Seems like you're not. Okay, next person. Abu Muhammad. Let's see. See what's up. But oh wait, man, this TikTok thing needs to be improved.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Abu Muhammad.
So,
Are you a Sunni or a Shia?
I mean, Sunni.
Fine.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, that's a generic, I guess. So,
Fair enough.
I've been seeing you on my, on my feed. You make a lot of great points. I do have to say that, but and I'm always looking for knowledge and everything, and I hear people that say that people that are rejecting hadith are kafir. I don't really ascribe to that. I don't
God
think
bless
that.
you.
Yeah, I don't think that you're a kafir because you just because hadith are infallible. Are not infallible.
They're fallible.
Fallible. Yeah, the Quran is infallible. So there's a Arabic is not my first language, so there's a verse in the Quran that tells you to follow the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
We
So
just
how
had
do
this
you?
conversation. It's saying to follow the
I'm
prophet.
sorry, I
there.
just joined. So, yeah.
Okay, so God tells you to follow the prophet. The word follow does not mean you imitate him. So if you go to Surah Ghafir, right, there was two individuals that were having an argument. It was a person that was concealing his iman, his faith, in front of Pharaoh, and Pharaoh was the one who's debating back. So Pharaoh says to his people, follow me. I'll show you the righteousness, the way to righteousness, or rushed. And then the guy that was concealing his faith, he goes, are you going to kill a man who's saying that God is his Lord and that God is his Lord, and he's promising you that if you don't listen, that God's going to destroy you? Are you going to unalive him so that you may see what God is saying? And if he's lying, it's upon him. And then the man goes as far as saying that follow me, I'll show you the way. So the word follow is not to sit here and imitate the way he eats and stuff. That's not following somebody. So for example, in the United States, recently they had an election. Trump had his way and Biden had his way. Who did people follow? Some people followed Trump and some people followed Biden. Now we're talking about the blessed prophet, where God's saying that if you love God, then follow him, or follow me, or follow the prophet, so that God would love you. So there's individuals that are saying there's multiple gods, or God has children, okay? And then there's the prophet saying there's only one God, and that he does know children. Who do you follow? That's what it meant. It had nothing to do with hadith and the way that he dresses and the way that he eats. This is never where God has ordered you to do that.
Okay, but I mean, so do you reject like every single one? Like
I reject
even-
hadith as a religious authority. So if I'm learning some historical facts, I'm going to approach it however people approach with history. Do I attribute it back to the Prophet? I cannot. It's not physically possible to do so. There is no evidence as well of what the history is showing that it is attributed back to the Prophet. But I will never, because it's haram for me to take my religious judgment and religious authority outside of the Quran. So it's not about rejecting or accepting hadith. I'm not allowed to accept it.
Okay. I mean, let me ask you this. So, I mean, of course, you got the people that,
I love this.
that's-
It's the same people. It's the same people. I really feel like it's the same people. Sorry. The comments is like this. Is a beard fard? And then the other guy says, why do you grow a beard, buddy, if you don't follow the sunnah? And then it's like they just keep commenting. It's like they think like beard is religion to them.
yeah.
You see, this is the problem when you're saying imitate. There's nowhere where it's stating to tell you that you have to grow a beard or that only Sunnis grow beards. Like it's weird.
I can grant to you that. I mean, if you look into hadith a lot, I mean, it kind of makes you go crazy. At one point, I think I follow hadith or follow something, a teaching that I heard from a sheikh that's reputable, and then I hear something else from the same sheikh that contradicts that one thing, and it makes me kind of go crazy sometimes. So would you consider? Let me ask you this: would you consider, because those people do? Would you consider the people that do follow the hadith are misguided or
Yes.
kuffar?
They're
Or
misguided. Fi dalal and fi kufr. The kufr is not just them following hadith. The kufr is when someone comes to them and presents to them the clear contradiction from a Quranic verse, and then they deny the Quran. Yes, that's the kufr. So I'll show you a very easy example. Okay, give me 1 second.
You can correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, what some of the hadith sciences, I guess, is if a hadith that goes against the Quran, it's not considered sahih anymore.
That's not sahih. That's not true. That's not what hadith science is. Hadith science does not concern itself with the content most of the time. Hadith science is in regards to who's saying the hadith and the chain and how sound the chain is. And if they can prove that it's authentic, then that means the content has some basis. So sometimes you have a sahih hadith with a weak content, but they won't call it weak. They would still say that it's sahih because it's the people narrating it. So I have a example here, right? In Muslim 2749, okay, Sahih Muslim. If you were not to commit sin, so if you're not sinners, Allah would sweep you out of existence and He would replace you by people who would commit sins. So if you are righteous people who do not commit sin, God will destroy you. Okay, this is in Muslim 2749. And then you go to the Quran, chapter 28, verse 59. And we did not destroy the town except when their people are sinners or transgressors. When the people are transgressors. So God will never destroy a town, and it was not for us to destroy a town except when their people are transgressors. So this completely contradicts the Quran. That if you do not sin, God will destroy you.
Yeah, no, I know this hadith. A lot of Christians use it against me.
But this is impossible for the Prophet to say. Okay, so we see who the person who said it, okay? It's Abu Utta, Abu Pussycat, okay? Abu Huraira. Which is also his name himself, okay? Abu Bakr, Abu Huraira. These are not names that is permissible in the Quran to call yourself, because there's a verse where God says, وَلَا تَتَنَابَزُوا بِالْأَلْقَابِ. So do not give yourself nicknames. So you're supposed to say Abdullah Abdurrahman.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but in the Quran it does say that God prefers that you call them by their father's name.
That's if you have a child that you're raising, that he's not your child, you call them by the father's name. But even if these people, you want to call them by their father's name, that's fine. But Abu Huraira, the father of a kitten, this is not something that's permissible, but it's not like a great sin. These are things that we should be sticking. But he's the one who narrated this hadith, so that God will destroy you if you're not committing sin. But okay, so now we found a problem with Abu Huraira's hadith. Does that mean now, which he is the most active narrator in Bukhari, he narrated over 5,000 hadith, how many other errors that he have? And then if we look at the history of Abu Huraira in the hadith, it shows he was around the Prophet for 3 or 4 years. Okay? And Abu Bakr who's been around the Prophet his whole, like the whole time in Revelation, Omar for a significant time, and Ali for a significant time. Ali is the one with the most hadith of about 500, and then you have Abu Bakr and Omar, which are less than 500 each. So why is the guy that least knew the Prophet is narrating 5,000 hadiths of him, and they're most like this kashra? Makes no sense.
Okay. I mean, so how do you reconcile as well? I mean, how do you pray? That's one thing.
Well,
Like, how do you
I have, like, the Quran clearly tells you the steps that you need to take for your prayer, the durations of the prayer, and when to pray. Okay, and it does not align with what these people have taught me. I have a YouTube channel which is the same name as my TikTok, Muhammad from God, and I have how to do prayer based on the Quran. It's a 10-minute video, and it's very straightforward. Now, here's the thing. Now, the people who do start to pray the way the Quran tells you to pray, they see how significant and how amazing their life becomes. They understand how patience works. They are always ready with the verses in their head. They're spending so much time with the book. God doesn't want you just to memorize the last, like, 5 surahs in Juz' Amma, right? And to repeat them every prayer, and then you're done. God gave you 604 pages. Okay, why are you just using 2 pages for prayer? The prayer is about the reading and the reflecting of the Quran. So for me, I can finish a juz'ah in my prayer every 15 days because I have an hour in the morning, an hour in the after, or 30 to 40 minutes in the morning, 30 to 40 minutes in the evening, and then at night I can also go put another 20, 30, 40, 50 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours. And this book became something that is extremely attached to me. So that's why the Sunnis can't sit and debate me, especially with the Quran.
Because I'm asking you because I heard, I saw one of your TikToks, and it made a lot of sense where you were like basically saying that the morning prayer, so Fajr, Maghrib, or Ishi are supposed to be loud, and then you said that that the Dhuhr and Asr are supposed to be silent. So that's the sunnah of it. Is those are supposed to be silent. So do you reject like the Dhuhr and Asr?
Yeah, because they're not prayers, and the Quran doesn't say that they're prayers. Quran talks about 3 prayers. Consistently talks about 3 prayers.
Okay, so what about Isra and Mi'raj? I mean, how do you reconcile that?
That hadith is a lie. That hadith is clearly a lie, bro. And by the way, the Zoroastrians have a very similar hadith where some guy goes up, argues, debates with God, and comes back and gives them some things in regards to prayer. That's in the Zoroastrians.
That's in the Quran, though. I mean,
no. Isra wal Mi'raj isn't. Isra is, Mi'raj isn't.
Not in detail, but it does say in the. I got to pull up the verse, but it does say that God raised it up.
Isra. So the Isra part is in the Quran, the Mi'raj part isn't. سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى ليريه من آياته. Okay? Exalted is the one that took his servant from the sacred mosque to the furthest mosque, so he would show him some of his signs. So this is the Isra, but there's no Mi'raj. And the prayer is actually talked about in that, like literally that surah talks about the prayer. وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ لِدُلُوكِ الشَّمْسِ إِلَى غَسَقِ اللَّيْلِ وَقُرْآنِ الْفَجْرِ إِنَّ قُرْآنَ الْفَجْرِ كَانَ مَشْهُودًا وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَتَهَجَّدْ بِهِ نَافِلَةً لَكَ عَسَى أَن يَبْعَثَكَ رَبُّكَ مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا. Right? So perform the prayer from the setting of from the declining of the sun to the twilight of the night. That's one prayer. And then symmetrical. وَقُرْآنِ الْفَجْرِ إن قرآن الفجر كان مشهودا. There's your symmetry. ومن الليل فتهجد به. And from the night, like, take it as extra credit, right? عسى أن يبعثك ربك مقاما محمودا. So the more time you spend in the evening prayer, there is a bigger chance of God sending you to a station where you are going to be praised. Now look, like, I'm not talking about, like, you could see the fruits of my labor. I have one of the biggest channels in regards to in English speaking in regards to this methodology, but there's times where I spent 4 or 5 hours in my night prayer, like a third of the night, half of the night, as God states. I did that for weeks. Okay, and I could feel how much I got close to God in those moments. Because of these dedications that you give to God, God makes your life so much better. But people don't approach it in that manner, and then they lose. So they come call me a kafir. It's like, come try my life for a moment. You wouldn't want to go back yourself.
But you call them. But you just said you call them kuffar as well. It's like both ways.
No. But they call me kafir because of their own whims. I'm calling them kafir because I'm substantiating in the Quran. The way they're calling me a kafir is because they're saying that I don't believe in their books. I'm calling them a kafir because they're rejecting the book.
Okay. I mean, me as somebody who, I look into hadith, and when I hear it, if it makes sense, I'll try to implement it and everything. But
Is it necessary?
Would you call me a kafir? I mean, somebody that's just.
Is it necessary? This is the question I would ask you. Is it necessary for submission? Is it necessary for Islam?
There has to be some context, right? Into like the reason why we know that the last two ayahs of Surah Al-Baqarah, right? We know that those came directly from God during the Isra al Mi'raj.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
From the hadith, that's what. Yeah, that's
but
how.
It doesn't mean that that's accurate.
But that's how I know it. It's by reliable people.
But it's not reliable people. It's the guy in the mosque telling you to do so. This is exactly what the Christians do.
Mm-hmm. So if you heard, like, there's something like the last sermon, right? The last sermon of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
which there's three versions of.
Yeah, where he in that sermon he made sure that somebody was writing down every word.
So why is there three versions of it?
I guess three people were writing it.
But it's completely different than what they were saying. There's three versions. So which one do I follow? Do you understand? If the Quran had that problem, people would not believe it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so why do you believing it? Why do you believing it in other sources that you're saying that it's from God?
I'm not aware that there were three different versions of it. I'll be honest with you, but if we got to look at those versions, and if they contradict each other in terms of what was said, but if it was said, if those three different versions were said differently, but the message is still the same, the same logic goes to the Quran because it was revealed in 8 different ways.
No, it wasn't. This is another lie. These are apologetics. Brother, it wasn't revealed that way. That's a lie. This is apologetics. This is completely fabrication. It's not accurate. The whole concept of 7 ahruf means there's 7 ways that the Quran was revealed. The Quran was revealed one way with consonantal text. Later, people started to read it, and the readings were different because it's consonantal text. For me to read Arabic, I need dots, and some people need diacritics. But even if I go to aljazeera.net right now and read the Arabic in Al Jazeera, they don't show you any diacritics. So, but people can put different diacritics in different positions, and that's where the readings came from. There was so many permutations in the readings that they needed to standardize it, and that's where they had the 10 readings, and then it evolved into 16. There's some things that are considered as non-canonical readings, like the ones that of Ibn Abbas and Ali bin Abi Talib, which they do not attribute back to a canonical reading. The thing is, these people do not understand the history of the readings, and they keep trying to pass it off with their apologetics, and they completely fail when they look at the actual information that is present within their own books. A lot of people that talk about these things are ignorant. So the Christians go find something that is extremely basic to understand and to refute. And then they take it to Muslims that have never heard about it, never read about it. And the Muslims start to come up with things in their own heads, trying to give it apologetics that, the Quran was revealed in 8 different ways. No, absolutely not. The Quran was revealed in something called Old Hijazi Arabic, okay? The Old Hijazi dialect has been extinct since the 7th century. What you're seeing now is the evolution of how it went from Old Hijazi to pretty much Shami Arabic and finally into classical Arabic that has been standardized now. But the point is, the Quran was preserved throughout the whole process. The Quran has not changed in the remembrance throughout the whole process, but the Hadith has. So you could see the language of the Hadith and the word choice of the Hadith is completely different to what the Quran states. And so, like, there's the ways that the animals that have been listed, the word choice that has been done, the grammar that's presented in the hadith is much different than from the Quran. And even Sunnis have made studies to show you that the source of the Quran is not the same source as the hadith. And therefore, the hadith is from the Prophet and the Quran is from God. Yet they're supposed to come from the same source. There's something that is extremely flawed in the way that people are presenting the information.
Okay. Well, what about the? I saw the hadith as well that we get the organization of the Quran itself from a hadith from basically the last Ramadan. Angel Gabriel came and basically organized it.
No. No, the order that you have now today is attributed to Uthman. There was many orders by the time that the Prophet has passed away because it was not something that was standardized. But then they have later standardized the order of the Quran, which God has accepted from them. But it has absolutely nothing to do, because right now I can go open chapter 50 and read it, and then go chapter 7 and read it, and then chapter 433 and read it, and it will still all make sense. So the order of the Quran is irrelevant, especially in the fact that there is no abrogation in the Quran either.
What about the Dajjal? The Dajjal, the second coming of Jesus.
No such
thing. What
thing.
about all of that?
Jesus is not coming back. What is he going to come back and do? What do you want him to do?
The Dajjal.
The Dajjal is Iblis. Dajjal, the concept, the word Dajjal in Arabic, الذي يدجل, Dajjala, okay, the one that commits Dajjal, is the person that is not telling you the truth, but it seems like he's not lying. So, for example, if I say the sky is blue, you could say that that's accurate. No, the sky is not blue. Blue is the reflection of the oceans from the sun and whatever the science has proven, but the sky is actually black. Okay? So, but when I say the sky is blue and you believed me, I am causing now Dajjal for you. And if I'm doing it on purpose, saying, hey, I know the sky is black, but I'm going to make him say that's blue, then I made you believe my lie. That is truly what Dajjal is, okay? So Iblis is Dajjal. Is Iblis going to die? No. Why? Because he has a promise up until the day of judgment. Jesus is not going to come back and kill Dajjal. Jesus is not coming back. Jesus already died.
Okay. Well, and I'm listening to you, and this is so. I'm going to leave you with this. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Abu Muhammad, before you give me your final words, what I want you to understand is God says, وَمَا أَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ إِلَّا لِتَحْكُمُ بَيْنَهُمْ فِيمَا هُمْ فِيهِ يَخْتَلِفُونَ. And we have not sent you the book except to judge between them in what they used to differ in. 1, 2. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ or الْفَاسِقُونَ or الظَّالِمُونَ. So whoever does not judge with what God has sent, those are the disbelievers. Those are technically the hypocrites or immoral. Those are the transgressors. So now you're saying that Jesus is coming back. I'm telling you Jesus is not coming back. I can substantiate my claim from the Quran that Jesus is not coming back. Can you substantiate your claim from the Quran that Jesus is coming back? And if you're going to say because so-and-so told me so, then that's kufr.
Okay. Well,
so you can have your final word.
Thank you.
But wallahi, this guy is trained by the Mossad. So why am I talking against the Zionist state on my shorts? Go ahead, brother.
It seems like, you're, and I don't mean this with any disrespect. It seems like you're taking it's like you got the Quran, right? And it's great and everything. It's perfect. And then it's like a perfect Sunday. And then I would consider the hadith like a cherry on top. You can take it or leave it, right? But it takes away a lot of context, a lot of the kind of story of the Quran, like the seerah, like this and that. A lot of the Quran, the context of it, comes from the hadith. In my opinion. You can take it or leave it.
Is it necessary?
It's not necessary, but you can take it or leave
needed.
it, and then you can hear. And if you heard, let me ask you this: if you go in front of Allah, and He asks you, "Why did you do this? Why did you do that?" And say we're talking about a couple sunnahs that whatever sunnah that you want. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? And you can tell him, oh, I heard from so and so, from so and so, from so and so, right? At that point, I don't think it just does good because you're doing it from the good of your heart, because you heard that your love of the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made you do that.
And then
So
what
I
if
don't
God
think there's
says the
any harm
prophet
in
didn't
it.
say? Well, and if God says the prophet didn't say so, the prophet didn't do that, and he didn't say so. What are you gonna
Yeah.
do there? You're gonna say my partner told me so. You understand?
Then it would be on that guy, not on me.
No, it's on you. Because
No, it's
it's 100% on you. You're the one who accepted it. Why did you accept it when you have the book of God?
because I heard from so and so that the Prophet, peace be upon him, and out
Mhm.
of love of following the Prophet, and out of my understanding of the Quran, when you told me to obey the Messenger, that's how I
But
follow it.
yeah, but God is showing you in the book how do you obey the messenger. And God says, do not pursue what you have no knowledge in. Just because some guys told you that that's what said, how do you have knowledge that that's what he said? What's your proof? Man, what's this guy saying? I am Isa, the God of Christians. You can go in time out until you understand where you are.
But
Sorry.
anyway, I mean, it's been a pleasure talking. I'm still going to follow you. I'm still going to
Appreciate
watch your
it.
videos.
But
I
you are
mean,
going to stand account for your own self. And there's verses that says that the people who have been following somebody, it's like, hey, we were your followers. Can't you guys avail us from the punishment of God? And they're gonna say, if we were guided, we would have guided you, and you have no favor upon us. So they are both in the punishment because you're just following somebody because he told you so, and it's not out of the love of the prophet. It's because out of fear that you're gonna go to hell if you don't listen.
Like for example, the Dhuhr and Asr.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm praying Dhuhr and Asr because the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam prayed those. I heard from that's how he prayed. These are the prayers that he prayed.
Okay, but then some guy came and told you like, hey, the Quran is not telling you to do this. And you're saying, well, I'm just following the guy that said that this is what the prophet said. So on the day of judgment, you specifically, you have no more excuses.
Okay.
وَقِيلَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لِلَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوا تبعوا سبيلنا ولنحمل خطاياكم وما هم بحاملين من خطاياهم من شيء إنهم لكاذبون. So this is in chapter 29, where it's the people who disbelieved, right? The people who are following all these other stuff that follow us, and we're gonna carry your burdens, and they're not gonna carry any of your burdens.
You made me a kafir, man. What the hell?
Habibi, it's not okay. The word kafir means a rejecter. Okay, it's not kafir bi Allah. This is the problem with Sunnism. They took words that are supposed to be used and they made it seem seriously bad. Like the word dal, for example. Oh, he's misguided. But God called, or the children of Jacob call his father, which is Israel, or Jacob, the prophet. They say, Inna abana lafi dalalin mubin. Does not mean that he left God and he's misguided and he left the fold of Islam. No. The word dal means misguided. The word kafir means he rejected. It does not mean he rejected God. It does not mean he disbelieved. And so the word kafir is taken out of context by Sunnis. The word Muslim is taken out of context by the word Sunnah is taken out of context with the word Hadith is taken out of context by Sunnis. So the language has become so jumbled because of these errors. When I'm calling you like, yes, you're committing kufr, it does not mean that you've rejected God. Well, it doesn't mean now that you rejected the day of judgment. So someone's asking me to translate the verse. And the people who disbelieved, وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, to those that believed, follow us, follow our ways, and we will carry your sins or your errors. Okay? And they are not carrying anything from their errors, from anything. They are liars. That's what the verse is saying, which is truly what you were just explaining to me. Oh, well, it's their fault. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
So be careful. Be careful. You were warned.
Okay. All right.
Habibi.
Thank you.
Habibi, God bless you. Salam. And hey, having questions does not make you a bad person, just so you know. Having questions does not make you a bad person, but if God wants to guide you, he's going to put you through this. Bro, reading from Google. No, I'm reading from my YouTube channel messages. I have comments on my YouTube channel. She said, no, Muhammad. What? Let's see. Guys, there's a lot of people. I'm going to take one more person because it's past the time that I wanted to stay on. going to take one more person and then we're going to go from there, okay?
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام. محمد
كيف
كردي. Are
حالك؟
you...
How are you?
الحمد لله. كيفك أنت?
أنا
How...
Muslim.
أنت Muslim. Are you Sunni or Shia though? Or just a
I'm
Muslim?
neither.
Okay, so you follow the Quran alone or do you follow other books?
The Quran alone.
Alhamdulillah. How can I help you then? Because this is...
Wallahi, I was going to answer Abu Muhammad
تفضل.
on the question about Isra and Mi'raj. I see, according to the Sunnah and according to their history, the wudu, the ayah wudu in Surah Al-Ma'idah came 9 to 10 years after Isra and Mi'raj. So from 9 to 10 years, how did the Sahabas and the Prophet and everybody, all the Muslim, made wudu? 10 years, bro. How they have no record of it, how they did wudu. And then they come around, they say, oh no, Jibreel came and taught him. Well, if Jibreel came and taught him, why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the wudu 9 years later, 10 years later, bro?
Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I just want him to go and do some research on that, and I'll be clear to him.
Unfortunately, many of them are like Sunnis. I mean, like Christians. They believe in the Bible, they never read it. They believe in Bukhari, they never read it. So what are you going to say to God when he says, why do you believe in something you never read?
And then the Isra Miraj, if you go read the story,
it's crazy, bro.
Yeah, he meets everybody, all the prophets at the Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, and then he goes to the first heaven, and they ask him, Adam's like, who's this person, Jibreel? He's like, oh, this is Muhammad. Ya Adam, ya akhi, you just saw him at Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. You forgot about him already? He was your imam at Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, bro.
My favorite is it started with 50, and then it went down to 12.5, and then it went down to 6.25.
And then
it became 5. And then the funny thing is, God ends that hadith, okay, by saying the words don't change with me. So he changes it from 50 to 12.5 to 6.25 to 5, and then he says it doesn't change.
And there's three riwayats. There's 3 riwayats. One says cut in half. One says 10 divided in 10. So it becomes 6.25. Oh, you know what? Let's just make it 5 for you. Go ahead. Have a nice day.
And then he says to Musa, it's like, no, I had enough. Like, bro,
and then if you go back, yeah, and if you go back to Moses, it was never prayed upon them. They never told them to pray. There's no salah during the time of Musa.
There is.
Yeah. Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Like the exactly how we do it today?
Yes, because the salah started with Abraham. There was no salah before Abraham. But after Abraham, there was a salah. وَجْعَلْنِي مُقِيمُ الصَّلَاةِ وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِي. So, but before Abraham, there was no salah. That's why God says, وَاتَّبِعُوا مِلَّةَ Ibrahim. He didn't say مِلَّةَ Nuh or مِلَّةَ Adam. He specifically said Abraham because that's where the concept of the establishment of salah started. And so, yeah, they do stand a prayer like us. And in fact, the way that I pray, a lot of people keep sending me messages is like, hey, that's how the Karaite Jews pray. That's how certain Christians in Africa pray. I don't go from them, but it's identical apparently in regards to the movements.
Wallahi, akhi, this Quran is going to come and become a shahid on your day of Qiyamah. Bukhari is not going to be there for you.
Bukhari is going to be running away from you.
Sahih Muslim is not going to be there for you. Your imams, your shuyukh is not going to be there for you. The best way I tell Muslims to understand their deen is to go read the Quran.
Alhamdulillah.
Read it in the language you understand. And I'm Kurdish.
Ya Khode.
In English, Ya Khode. Khudai mazun wala.
I grew up with a lot of Kurdish brothers and sisters, so yeah.
So
North Syria. So
you know what they say about the Kurds? They say they're jinns. They come from jinns.
They say a lot of bad things about Kurds. Yes, unfortunately, but this is bad racism and propaganda. But it's not true.
Khair inshallah. Wallah, ya Muhammad, I appreciate your knowledge and I learned a lot from you.
God bless you.
Allah protects you, Habibi.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam. All right, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I apologize. That was the last individual that I could take today. It is getting late for where I am. I don't want to stay over much. These were some good conversations that we had today. I apologize for everybody else that's in the queue that hadn't got the chance to come up. I'm going to be doing these a little bit more often. I'm setting up a new studio in the area that I'm in, which is going to make things easier for me to stream because I would have my stuff set up easier. And we're going to make a little bit different as well. As the brother said earlier, that 2026 is going to be, God willing, a very important year for us, is just because the Sunnis are on the back pedal. They're running away. And they're really feeling the pressure because they didn't think that we're going to have the positions that we have now. And now there's also some governments that are understanding the importance. Thank you. Whoever was that? God bless you. Reshe. Thank you, brother. God bless you, man. So as I was saying, that there's even some governments now that are considering these positions for their own people, that they understand how important it is to judge with the Quran, and this sectarianism is not working out. And these governments as well, they're watching, they're learning, they're seeing, they're understanding. So they see the significance of this movement. So 2026 is definitely going to be an interesting year as long as we keep pushing forward. This is to my brothers and sisters. As for you Sunnis and Shias, you're just going to have to sit here and be the Christians and the Jews to the end of time. After the believers, inshallah, by the grace of God, we get the ability to actually inherit the earth. All of you Sunnis and Shias are always crying about the Khalifa and this guy that's going to come and establish the community and all of this. And whatever other nonsense that you guys like to preach to each other, which does not happen. The thing that you're failing to realize is for the community to actually become unified is not going to be because of your way of you dressing and these other men and these other words that you keep throwing at each other that has nothing to do with the Quran. For you to actually be unified and to become a one community under the grace of God, you have to use the book of God, and that's it. That's the ultimate truth. As many people that came and that spoke Arabic, they're telling you, in the Middle East, it seems like this movement is really kicking off. And the Sunnis in this side of the world, they know it. So they keep talking about Hadith rejection in these random events. They would be talking about a book that some author wrote, and they're making this publication and this conference about a book that is being published. And then they bring up the topic of Hadith rejection. Why? Sorry, my computer is dying out. So yeah, so they talk about Hadith rejection all of a sudden. What's that got to do with the topic? Why are you warning? Why are you constantly warning the West and these reverts of Hadith rejection? And that's akin to heresy. Believing in the book of God, it's not efficient. It's not sufficient. You need to believe in our lies for you to be a Muslim. Change your English name to an Arabic name. Start to talk about Saudi Arabia in an amazing way. Wear your little white hats and walk around the way that we walk around. And make sure you shave off your mustache, because that's what God has ordered you to do so. Oh, and if someone is going to tell you that marrying a 6-year-old is bad, you tell him that's what they did back in the day. And a 6-year-old is equal to a 21-year-old in this day and age. That's what you do. That's how we're going to train you. But the argument is never about a 6-year-old and 9-year-old. All of them are arguing about 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds. Well, back in the day, people used to marry 13 or 14-year-olds. Some of them went down till 11. She's still not 6, bro. Yeah, Abu Sulaiman, you're completely right. TikTok in the Middle East is flooded with Quran alone. Flooded with Quran alone positions. Yes, my Arabic name is Al-Askandar Al-Albani. Shaloni. Man, I love you guys. Aisha is not 6, bro. It's against the Quran for Aisha to be 6. You understand? It's against the Quran for Aisha to be 6 or 9. So whoever wants to keep preaching that nonsense, you're just saying a lie. You're just repeating. And by the way, the guy that narrated that she was 6, it's literally one guy, okay? So there's one guy that there's many chains that lead to this exact same guy, Hisham or whatever. And he has a problem with numbers. He was an old man that used to forget a lot. That's what Al-Rijal states about him, that this individual used to forget often. So what he meant to say was 16 and 19, but he said 6 and 9. And God tells us to not give your money to people, to kids, until you sense some rationality from them, okay? There has to have some rushd for you to give money to a child, okay? And that's the first thing. And the second thing is, they have to reach the age of puberty, okay? So she has to have puberty and she has to have a sound mind, like an actual mature mind, to give her money. Guess what? In Islam, when you want to marry a girl, and you look at the Quran and what the Quran states, it tells you that you have to give her a dowry. How do you give money, a dowry, to a 6-year-old? What's she going to do with the money? She's going to buy chocolates, lollipop, and a doll. Okay? So she's going to go blow her dowry on things that a child would blow on. And God tells you that it's forbidden for you to give money to children in that way because they're going to blow their money. And if you had orphans, a 6-year-old orphan, yeah, you can't give them their money either, their property. So there's things that are implicit and explicitly understood in the Quran, and God never says that you could marry children. Now, in the Arabic language, we have 3 words that signify certain things. Al-Rijal, men, and Nisa, women, and Al-Atfal, children. So notice how God does not say children are men and women. There is a difference. You could go in chapter 4. وَالْمُسْتَضْعَفِينَ مِنَ الرِّجَالِ وَالنِّسَاءِ وَالْوِلْدَانِ. Okay, so God says the weak men and women and the children. But then when you go to the verse where you keep telling me that you could marry children because those that have not menstruated yet, when you look at the beginning of the verse, God says, Nisa'akum, your women. So it's not talking about children. Well, what does it mean that they not menstruated? Well, the word hamil in Arabic means that she's carrying a load. Now, when a girl is pregnant for the first 2 months in 600 AD, they were not able to give her a pee test for her to say like, hey, I'm pregnant. So they had to wait a few months for her to look like she's lifting something. So we don't know, is her period late or not? Guess what? There are also medical conditions where some girls menstruate only 2-3 times a year until they actually have sex or until they give birth and their menstruation cycle goes back to normal. But for many girls and for many people, their menstruation cycle can go out of sync. It can go out of the whack. And she can go for 3-4 months without having a menstrual cycle, and then it comes. So God is covering all types of edge cases. But guess what? That verse is what we call a mutashabih. It's a similar verse. It's got some similarities to it in other verses. And the people with deviations in their hearts, just like some individuals say, well, this is about children because Ibn Kathir said so in his tafsir. That's not the case. That's not how we approach the Quran. God tells us that those that are clearly pregnant, they have a waiting period. And the one that did not menstruate yet, well, now you have to find out if she's actually pregnant or not. Wait, she's either going to menstruate or she's pregnant. It's such a clear verse. And then these people come say, well, you can marry little kids. No, you can't, dude. No, you can't. Oh, man, this is amazing. Oh, yes, and the goat definitely didn't eat 2 verses of the Quran, because that's what they want to tell you. That there's 2 verses that are missing in the Quran. The first one is that you have to stone an adulterer. So the Sunnis that tell me the Quran is complete, they say there's 2 verses you won't find, but they're still there. Okay, so there's a hadith that's sahih that states that there's a verse that says it takes 5 suckles, like, you know, an old man sucking on a boobie of a woman that's not his wife, for her to become a muharram, or a baby as well. It does not necessary for it to be an old man. And that verse is not in the Quran. Yet the hadith states that we were reciting this up until the Prophet passed away. It used to be 10 and then got abrogated to 5. We don't see that in the Quran. There's no such verse. So the hadith is telling us there's a verse missing in the Quran. And then there's a verse about the stoning the lady that cheated on her husband, that whore. We have to sit there and actually stone her, because that's how a just God deals with us. Oh yeah, thank you, M. They keep telling us that the Prophet was enchanted. And God clearly tells us in the Quran, that the disbelievers used to say that you're following an enchanted man. And now all of a sudden the hadith is saying that the Prophet got enchanted. So the disbelievers weren't lying. Were they following an actual prophet or an enchanted man? And God says, وَيَعْصُبُكَ اللَّهُ مِنَ النَّاسِ, and God will protect you from people. But I guess God cannot protect him from magic at that point, that verse does not apply. Notice how most of the hadith, unfortunately, anything that God's saying in the Quran, most of what God is saying in the Quran, they always have an exception in the hadith to break what the verse is saying, right? There's always this weird exception where the verse gets broken. So when God states that there's nothing like the Quran, there's a hadith saying that the Prophet got the Quran and something like it. verse is broken, there's an exception. When God states that his throne was on water, oh, well, the devil's throne was also on water, so now there's an exception. When God states that you cannot make the dead hear, there's a hadith where the prophet was talking to the dead, oh, well, there's another exception, right? Like, it's always, everything that God states is just, there's always an exception. Oh, did you see the one that forbids a servant from prayer? Well, there's a hadith where the prophet is forbidding you from prayer at certain times. Okay, what? Like, what is there left? You know, God states that do not put water in your mouth. Do not drink water during Ramadan. Well, no, bro, you have to do your wudu where you put water in your mouth. When the Quran doesn't tell you to put water in your mouth, well, we just broke our fasts. No, we didn't. We're following the Prophet. You're not. Oh, you're putting, like, you're brushing your teeth with your little, like, stick, because that's how the Prophet did it during Ramadan. Maybe the guy was an evil man and he wanted you to break your fast by putting things in your mouth that's actually going to go, you're going to swallow. Maybe he's making you do wudu so that you would break your fast, because that's what the devil wants you to do, to not fulfill your agreements, to not fulfill your things. Maybe the devil doesn't want you to pray, or your prayer not to get accepted. So, hey, at the end of your prayer, after you spent time praying, I want you to talk directly to the Prophet. Say, Tahiyatu wa salamu alayka ayyuhan nabi, ya ayyuhan nabi. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Hi, Prophet. Peace be upon you, Prophet, in the middle of your prayer. Maybe the devil convinced you to do that so that your prayer is not accepted. So tell me what's left. Oh, you went to Hajj. Great. You spent all that money. Amazing. Well, maybe the devil convinced you that you should go stone him at this point. And God said to stone him. Go pick up 21 pebbles, specifically 21 pebbles, and not stone him once, but 3 times. Okay? Find the first rock. You see this idol? It's not God now, it's the devil. This idol right here is the devil, and it's symbolic. So grab these rocks and stone the devil. Oh, you spent more money and spent more time to come to Hajj to finish the pilgrimage. You see that stone over there? The little tiny stone at the side of the Kaaba? Kiss it. Fight over it. Sit there and wipe your face on this rock, because that's going to get your sins forgiven. Why? Oh, well, there's a hadith where Omar goes, I don't know why the Prophet was kissing you. I don't know. I don't know why your Prophet's kissing you, but I'm going to kiss you because the Prophet kissed you. So when God says, do not pursue what you have no knowledge in, Omar goes, well, I don't know. I have no knowledge in it, so I'm going to kiss it. Well, can Omar actually say those words now? Is that what he said? I wonder if on the day of judgment, Omar goes, I never did that, nor did I say that. And whoever's saying that about me is a liar. Because Omar was talking to himself, and somebody overheard him, and they wrote it down. And that's your religion. Ladies and gentlemen, it's so clear. It's so easy. To destroy the Sunni and the Shia position, it takes one hadith. And you know what that hadith is? The best of hadith. The Quran. The Quran never tells me that I need 12 people to tell me my religion, which are your imams. The Quran never, ever said the word Ali as a person, that I need to sit here and focus on the cousin of the Prophet. The Quran never told me to go outside of the Quran for religious authority. The Quran never told me to eat, dress, and walk the way that the Prophet ate, dressed, and walked. So the final nail in the coffin where we're going to crucify these hadith books is coming soon. And they're not going to like what's coming. But it's okay, because they need to hear it. Because the day of judgment is coming soon. And if you want to get saved and you go to heaven, you need to start to trust God. Not trust God in Bukhari. And that's usually where we're going to end it. So peace be upon you. God bless you. Ati'u Allah wa Rasuluh. Yes. All right. You guys have a nice day. God bless you all. And take care on TikTok. Pa-pa-pa. Peace. Hi, YouTube. It's just us now. It's just me and you, YouTube. How you guys doing? See, the people on TikTok, they a little bit more engaging than on YouTube. But what I like about YouTube on the StreamYard is the conversations actually have a little bit more sense. Like, the people have some knowledge when they come to you, but not on TikTok. It's a little different. But TikTok, you get a lot more people coming and actually speaking and discussing, and people that want to maybe learn or not learn. I don't know. It's really up to them. But overall, I miss you guys. I miss YouTube, the YouTube days. Spanking those people that came. Well, I miss what was his name? Dawa Quest. It's praised God though. Everything is well, man. Everything is well. Yeah, these streams are gonna be impromptu a little bit. Thank you for my moderators that helped out. That been able to keep the chat in order. Sorry for the people that spam, but I am in the process of getting a few more things done for the mission. I have been updating the Quranic remedies often as much as I can, but yeah, very nice. You guys have any questions before I go? YouTube grown folks. YouTube is the old school folks. YouTube is like the old school way of getting it. This TikTok stuff is just, to me, a little bit weird. And plus on YouTube, you can actually present the verses, you can go through things, and people are a little bit better. That's because TikTok is used by a lot of kids. Yeah, that's true. And the thing is, like YouTube, you have that long content video. So the people who are coming to YouTube, they still have the idea of like, I can sit and watch 10-minute, 15-minute video. But on TikTok, it's all like short. So it's a little bit it's a different type of mentality because they're used to that mentality. And man, when these non-ritual guys come to me when I'm dealing with Sunnis and Shia, it truly upsets me. It's like, hey, I don't want to deal with you right now. This is not the time to deal with you guys. It's like, you guys want to talk about ritual, non-ritual? Just come to a stream where it's about Quran alone, because you guys are just sitting there now giving more people, hey, see, you guys are not in unison. We are in unison, but these individuals there, they just fail in basic things. So it's not the time to sit here and refute these guys, because it's easy to refute the non-ritual people. It's super easy to refute them. But I still treat them like my brothers and sisters, because they tend to say that they believe in the Quran alone. But it's not the place to discuss it, because the people who are Sunnis and Shias don't understand these things. Why do you need to present it in the way where there's other people watching? It's like, leave the family fights at home, bro. God bless you guys. Thank you, YouTube. Yeah. Shaloni. Pepperoni pizza. I miss the Saudi pizza because they were so small and cheap. Here it's costing more than $5. No, it's so good. God bless you all that help me out and support me. Sahih al-Bukhari, the same credence of the Quran. It just kept getting worse and worse. But usually, technically, you could say it started with the Ottomans. And then Abdul Wahhab and all these individuals that started to come and really push the Bukhari. So if you go into the Levant area, where my parents grew up, they only cared about the 40 Nawawi, 40 Hadith. They didn't care as much about the Bukhari as they do now. But in the beginning, when they were teaching their kids, they were just teaching them 40 Hadith of Nawawi, and that's it. And then the traditions were passed down orally. But the issue is it's not necessary. So it's not about trying to fix what they have. Okay. This is going to answer some question. Right now, I understand that you can go into a Quran-centric path, which to me is valid. I don't think there's something wrong with it. Is it necessary? That's my point. It's not necessary, but it is a valid way of approaching the things. That's why I don't try to dump on Quran-centric or try to refute or anything, because they're coming with something that makes sense to me. You know, you take whatever people are leaving as traces of how they understood the Quran, and you're filtering it with the Quran, and you're doing your best to try to apply it in a way that it seems like it was traditional based. Sure. But I'm trying to prove that it's completely unnecessary. I am taking the most solid position. To some, it might seem extreme, where I am capable of not accepting any of it, nor using it in any way that I want to present myself or present the Quran, and you could still see the coherence, and you could still see the articulations. People would assume that I'm starting a new religion, but it isn't. I'm presenting the religion in a brand new way of applying it. And you as an individual can do so. Now, the way that it gets widespread is for you to go into politics and become a social figure. Becoming a social figure or a politician or a social leader or a community leader, at that point, you can establish organizations and protocols to make your way of approaching the Quran the dominant way, because you start to punish other things that you do not accept as an application. So, for example, I can appreciate the Quranic-centric way, but if I'm a leader, I wouldn't allow it to be propagated. I would not allow it to go into the government level. I would not allow it into the mosques because I don't want people to learn it. But if people want to discuss it, so be it. Is it imprisonment? Is it you're going to get an actual, like, how can I say, are you going to go to jail? No. Are you going to be in trouble for doing so? No. But am I going to propagate it on a state level? Absolutely not. Am I going to allow it to be promoted on a state level? Absolutely not. What I want to do is establish the way that I would perceive that this is what God wants us, because I'm the community leader. That's how it works. But right now, in this day and age, everybody's allowed to present what they want, and the person that God is going to allow him to flourish is the person that's going to flourish. And when I see people flourishing, I go support them, because I myself, I don't know if I'm going to be in any position ever as a politician. But when I see a politician talking about what I perceive as the truth, and they are in the Quran alone, and they might not apply it the same way I do, I'll still support him. That's how it works. But it's not about destroying your competition. It's about solidifying your position for the future. It's the same way that Solomon did it in the Quran. Solomon used to go to nations and goes, come to me surrendering. And if you don't want to surrender, then we can go to war. And we'll see who's going to survive. And God gave me a huge army. What did God give you? That's how his matter was. It's like, hey, I am going to establish my dominance. My influence. And my influence is about God. I'm going to push people to God. And whether it happens or not, that's in God's hands. What is Quran-centric? Quran-centric is that they accept hadith that aligns with the Quran. That is Quran-centric. Quran alone there's no need for hadith. And that's the better position. Because you could still confuse yourself with the Quran-centric method. With that said, thank you, my brothers and sisters on YouTube. And God bless you all. Hey, we do have a drive. I can't put the text here, but it's on my Telegram. We're raising money for Gaza still. Really a hairy situation there. But check out the I could just put it in the chat. So, Mr. Rodriguez, Akhi, I've heard there is no history of scholars arguing against the Quran alone position because this didn't exist in the early era of Islam. Is this accurate in your opinion? This is not accurate, because you could go to Al-Shafi'i, which is, and it's nice to see you again, Mr. Rodriguez, peace. If you go to Al-Shafi'i, which he was an early position, he's like an early jurist. He has a book where he was talking about refutations, and one of the people that he was refuting, or one of the groups he was refuting, is a group that rejected all narrations being the hadith. 1. 2, you have the Mu'tazilites, which came even before Ash-Shafi'i, where there are prominent Mu'tazilites where they're saying that you are contemptible for accepting hadith, especially from certain narrators. And some went as far as saying that it is not necessary as long as you use your reason and your mind. Now, the Sunnis don't like this position, so they do not show it in their books. You can find it out through commentaries of people talking about Mu'tazilite books, but they burnt most of those books. So you don't actually know what the person was preaching. You're only understanding what Sunnis are saying about him. So imagine Sunnis talking about the Quran alone position. They would write about us things that are completely inaccurate to paint us as bad people. But you could kind of sense what the person was saying, because you know that the person is Sunni. He's painting you in a bad light, and you're capable of deducing it if you have the similar outlook. So if I'm going to write a book about Sunnis, I'm going to try to be as honest as I can, but I would show the things that are negative about Sunnism rather than things that are completely positive, if it has any positivity. And that's what they did to the Mu'tazilites. But the Sunnis, being a sect and not being believers, they did it in a really wrong way. But there are many groups, even the Khawarij are considered like extremists and exiles, and what is like the Oman, the Sultanate of Oman, which is technically what you would consider as Khawarij or Ibadis, they don't use hadith at all. So anyone who rejects the hadith to them is a Khawarij. But that was early in the community. Is a Khariji, is considered a hadith rejector. Would you debate Adnan Rashid? He was given a challenge, and my good brother Afariz, he's my moderator. He reached out to Adnan Rashid, and he knows Adnan Rashid. He literally told him, like, I'll give you money to debate MFG. Okay, I'll give you money, like incentive to what you want to do. Just answer the email and I will donate to whatever you're doing. The guy agrees, and I will check out the email and come back to you. And he said yes, and he never came. So most of these Sunnis, they run away. They're scared of a conversation with me. They actually are scared because they know that I present information that they can't answer. They don't have, they refer back, they go to the scholars, don't come to us. They want me to go to the black belts because they themselves cannot stand in the ring. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, peace be upon you. Alhamdulillah. Peace, guys.